online poker players, guess what? We are going back into a lockdown, and we're going to be talking about that and much more with Stu, JP, and Lee right after. Lee, we might be going back into lockdown, but we've got the boys with us tonight. It's all right.
Yeah, very much. I completely agree. It is effectively the Anton deck of APAT. They need no other introduction, really. Welcome to the show, Stu and JP. How you both doing, guys?
I'm all right. I'm just trying to figure out which one's which.
Well, you're the short one in any episode, mate.
Very true. Pot and kettle, Des. Pot and kettle.
Good evening, gents. How we doing?
Oh, lovely to have you on again, boys. Of course, you've both been on many, many times, it feels like. It's lovely to have you back. But I have to say, the opener was a bit serious. We're a bit glib about it at the moment, but it does seem like we're going back into the land of what? The unknown to a degree? Or do we know what's ahead of us now?
No, it's got a clue, haven't
we? No, go on. No, it's pretty much the same as last time. I mean, I don't think it's going to hold any great mysteries this time, is it? It's similar to the last one with a few less restrictions.
Yeah, I think we're. I kind of get the feeling that we're probably a little bit better prepared for it this time. People know what's going on. I don't think it's going to be so much crazy, mad, bulk buying of stuff and that kind of thing. We're all just a little bit more aware, and it feels a little bit more like, okay, we kind of knew this was probably coming. We'd seen what's been going on in some areas in the country. Okay, so it's going to be a month. All right, let's get on with it. If we do it right now, hopefully that means kind of Christmas period might be a little bit better for people. Let's just crack on and do it, I think.
Touch wood. Touch wood. Listen, guys, my brother lives in the States. He's lived in the States for many, many years. And, he's complaining, as we did about the toilet rolls back in the day. He said he's been into numerous supermarkets this week already. Can't buy a gun anywhere. It's outrageous. Can't buy a gun anywhere, guys. It's really, really bad. Well, listen, talking about guns, let's go to the chat box. Let's see what guns we have in with us tonight. So I see one Peter Wigglesworth is with us. Hi to you, Peter. We've got Dean Pearson. We've got Greg Mawson. We've got Eddie Niazzo. We've got Joe Chilmaid. Carlos Tior. I like that. That's a nice exotic-sounding name. Is with us also. We'll be joined by a lot of others. Of course, we're live in the group. Lee, what are the guys playing tonight?
Well, it's the Sunday night, so it's our usual fun with the Sunday roller and the poker squad. Sunday roller. It's championship weekend though, Des. So we've got medals up for grabs.
Love it.
Third one of 4 tournaments. 74 runners in that tonight in the Sunday roller. We're paying the top 10. We're down to 13, so we're getting very close to the money and then the final table. Top prize tonight, $620 for
nice.
Championship roller. Very nice for somebody. In the squads, well, it's the wild cards that really hold all the cards, as I posted up earlier on Facebook. Leading the MVP and leading the team event. 70 runners in that tonight. We're down to 34. We'll be paying top 9. We'll keep you updated with who can do what later on in the show.
Well, thank you, Lee. And let's see if we can't put a table up on the screen. And there we go. So I think we are looking at table 4 on the roller. We're down to 13, as Lee said. 6 left on this table. So we'll put that one up for your viewing pleasure. But what do you make of that, guys? This thing, I don't know if you saw, there was an article in one of the newspapers a couple of days ago that Walmart, bless their cotton socks, their large cotton socks, had decided responsibly to take all of their guns off their supermarket shelves in the run up to the election. I mean, that it begs a few questions. That doesn't it really? One, why would you take your gun stock off the shelves? What are you expecting? And two, perhaps the bigger question is, why? Why do they have guns on their shelves? I mean,
why are guns just
boxes and boxes of guns?
Jesus, that blows my mind. It's something I'll
it's
never
insane,
understand.
Isn't it?
Am I the only person who's just frightened of guns? I see somebody I go to America, you see someone carrying a gun, it makes me nervous. Whether it's like a policeman or not, it just makes me nervous. I just
many
don't.
people carrying guns up there in sort of the northeast.
We can't afford guns up here, Dad.
Potato guns, spud guns. That's what we had in Ireland. What about you, JP? What do you make of that?
It's just a bit bizarre, isn't it? How many of them carry guns and feel they need to have them all the time? But yeah. So to pick them up in supermarkets. I don't know if you saw Michael Moore film years ago, Bowling for Columbine, because I think they had bought the ammunition in Walmart, so they were featured quite heavily. Is bizarre, isn't it? That you can go in, get these, pick up, just pick up everything you need to go and shoot up a school. It's pretty scary.
Oh, it's insane on a lot of levels. And I suppose, this theory of the, the Second Amendment, that, you can defend your home and stuff like that. Well, that's all good and well in theory. But crikey, if tensions are rising to the level that Walmart feel they have to take their weapons off the, the sort of the shelves because, mamas and papas are going to be out next week toting guns at Biden supporters and Trump supporters, and it could get really, really messy over there.
I can't remember what I was watching recently, but there's been so much coverage. But I would think it was on the last leg, that was it. And someone basically said, whatever happens on November the 3rd, from then until the end of January, when I think it's towards the end of January, isn't it? They get sworn in. It's just going to be carnage. Yeah. It is just going to be carnage. But, I'm sure I'll have many more super spreader events.
It's just going to be one more, it's going to be one massive legal battle, and the country's going to go to hell in a handbasket while that happens.
Yeah. Well, listen, I suppose we're all, I assume we're all hoping that Trump gets kicked out. There's an entertainment value to having him in there, but obviously he's got control over the buttons, so you probably better have him out. But it's a bit scary. I watch quite a bit of CNN, and they talk about pathways to victory on Tuesday, right? And there's no way we're going to get a result on Tuesday unless it's an absolute landslide, I guess. But they can describe several pathways that Trump could yet win. So it might be a closer call than people think.
I think I've just being a little bit cynical. I just expect Trump to win anyway because I just have no faith in people. It's like he's got voted in once, and it's just you can't underestimate the stupidity of a lot of people. Yeah, basically, in my opinion.
And this lapse the other day where he couldn't remember his name. That is going to play to so many people's narratives and win a few votes, or lose a few votes. It's really quite sad.
Mm-hmm. The guy's he's a terrible candidate, on his own. Joe Biden, because he shouldn't be running to be the president of the US at 77. I don't think that's been ageist. I think that's just been sensible, right? He's just too old. So he's not a particularly good candidate. His heart is probably in a better place, but from a
metaphorically, yes, maybe not literally.
Well, one hopes. But we'll have to wait and see. Obviously, America couldn't find a better candidate.
Yeah, which is again worrying. They can't find a better candidate to be president. They can't find someone to run against him. It's like, how hard can it be?
Yeah, we'll wait and see. We are going to have a lot of US political news. I dare say dominating us over the next week to 2 weeks. And it could get very fiery indeed. Mm-hmm. So how are you guys dealing with the lockdown stuff? Are you business as usual in that we've been through it, we know what's coming, we're much better prepared, and therefore we're just going to get on with it? Is that the way you're both approaching it?
Well, working in the restaurant trade, basically we came back from lockdown and we'd eat out to help out for a month. Yeah, and then there was restaurant week and stuff. I can't wait for it. Just have a month off, to be honest with you. I get paid 80% of wages. It's just honestly, that eat out or help out, it was just carnage for people who actually work in the restaurant business. Yeah, it's good for the owners because they made a lot of money out of it, but the staff were all working 70, 80-hour weeks.
Yeah, it flipped the week on its head, didn't it, Stu? Instead of the weekends being done, it was Monday, Tuesday,
Wednesday. You're doing 400 people a day in a restaurant that can only hold 180 people at a time.
Wow.
And yet they want people to socially distance. It's like,
yes,
come on.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I dare say we're all individuals. It's gonna be okay for some of us, and it's not gonna be okay for some of us, and that's horrendous.
You see, I know I made like a kind of glib remark there, but I'm looking at the fact that the company I work for has done well since we came back from lockdown as well. So my job's going to be pretty safe anyway.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of smaller businesses that are going to be like hard hit by it. But I also think that it needs to kind of happen because it's the only way to slow the virus down. Because it's been pretty when like the first like wave got slowed down by the lockdown, and at the minute the stuff that got in place with the tier system and stuff is just not working.
I think, obviously I work in the hospitality industry and read a lot of their trade press, and they do feel, and I'm biased, but they do feel slightly picked on, slightly victimised because the numbers just don't justify singling them out. But what's actually happened with this second lockdown, this 4-week thing, is actually nobody's been singled out, are they? It's all the non-essentials. Obviously pubs and restaurants shut for a month is bad for me, but we've all got our own thing to deal with. And having that December 2nd, I think it is, whatever the date is. I know it's not set in stone, but at least it is that the plan is we come out in 4 weeks. So we didn't have that last time. So that is something to aim for. But it's, it is concerning. But try and stay very, very philosophical because there are many people worse off. There are people who have died. There are people who are ill. And not to be overly glib, but I was on a thread with Stu actually about whether we were going to have a meet up at some point. Obviously that didn't come about, but poor old Rodders actually used the phrase, "I'm not allowed to leave Newport." Now that's pretty depressing, isn't it? That's when you know you've got it bad.
Know. Yeah, if we could all keep Rodders in our thoughts and prayers, please. Just
no
one deserves that.
No. Yeah, we do pray for the people of Newport having to put up with Rodders for a prolonged period of time. Can't be easy. Can't be easy. I can't believe there aren't any ladders in the town to get out of those walled gates. But I guess, guys, what do we have to look forward to, right? So it's not only the getting through the sort of the interim period, but for a lot of people, I suppose Christmas was something to look forward to, some degree of normality, whatever it looked like, but at least a family Christmas. You can have your family around like we do every year. We go and meet the in-laws, as it were, whatever it is. But that looks seriously under threat. I guess they're hoping that maybe this action will enable that, but it looks under threat, doesn't it?
Well, those people obviously don't work in like the restaurant industry, where you have to work. Maybe December probably do like 70 hours a week, work Christmas Day, work Boxing Day. It's like, for us, it's like kind of just like it's the norm anyway. I know people do like that kind of thing, but like say again, a bit jaded by all of that nowadays.
Yeah, it's a bit tiring. I tell you what, I had a very positive discussion with Lee last night. We did a book launch for Robert Needham, and we had a lot of fun with that. And we were wondering where
I'm racking my brains like going, I had a positive conversation with Des.
What did I say? I'll let you know.
Why was he making notes about what I was saying? I don't understand.
I wasn't making notes. They stood in my mind as a beacon. And the more we talk, the more I forget what it was you said. But anyway, I'll carry on.
That worked well then. Excellent.
You'll pick up the thread as I burn through the minutes of tonight's live stream. So, a bit of a beacon. I said to Lee, but listen, Lee, we're all screwed anyway because we're going to have to pay for this. It's going to take us ages to pay for this. And Lee said, no, Des, don't worry. Smart thinking suggests that actually it's not going to make that much of a difference to anything post. And I thought, well, that's good. That is good. Lee, inform the guys. Give them some good news. Everybody listening.
No, it's just I read a very interesting article a little while ago about debt, country debt, and that kind of thing. And actually, that majority of countries actually do run with a deficit pretty much consistently. And the numbers that we're talking about at the moment aren't anything to really write home about. They really aren't. And it gradually just it cycles, and you gradually just come out of it, and GDP it grows, and you naturally just come out of it, and the debt gets paid off. It isn't quite as scary as as they would like you to believe when they use the kind of headlines, we'll all be paying this off for a very long time. Well, yes, it will be being paid off for a very long time, but you won't necessarily notice it as much. Yes, there are likely to be, potential kind of recession dips, and there might be more kind of what they will class as austerity, put in place. But ultimately, it isn't as bad. Most countries will run at a deficit. That's just what they do. And it's an interesting thing that that basically most countries work in a situation that it stays within the economy. So what one person spending is another person receiving. So ultimately, it's just money washing around the system. That's how it works.
And you didn't read that article on the TrumpianChronicle.com, did you, or the Breitbart News, or one of those crazy?
It was my daily Trump newsletter email. I mean, that's
shit. You've stolen my rainbow. It's just gone. It's gone dark. Listen, we have been joined surprisingly by a few others, and given our topic of conversation, they've probably already left, but let me name check them while I can. Simon Lawler. Simon will definitely be there, and that reminds me, we really need to talk about Annette tonight, right? We need to get a bit of fun in the room, so we'll talk about Annette tonight for you, Simon. Simon says, evening all, evening to you, Sa. We've got Harjit Singh is with us. We've got Gunther Syrinx, who's probably playing out there somewhere. Tell us what you're playing, Gunther. Eddie says, evening, guys. Evening to you, Eddie. Asa says, already had Trump supporters surrounding Biden campaign buses in Texas. Yeah, I saw that. They ran Joe Biden sort of campaign bus out of some Texas town today. He was just surrounded by trailer people in their 4x4s. No doubt they had guns on board.
When you
Absolutely
say trailer,
no doubt.
Well, I mean, what do you mean by trailer people? Guys,
let me tell you exactly what I mean. What I'm trying to tell you there is I don't like alliteration. That's all I can say.
I'm guessing there was more dungarees than teeth in the group.
Probably was quite a few large hats and dungarees, without doubt, and 47s. A lot of AK-47s. Daniel Stossel has joined us. Hi there. Hi to you, Daniel. Freddie Dealing is back with us. Ian Eyre is there. Joe says, evening, guys. Evening to you, Joe. Frank Bailey says, hi, guys. Hi, Frank. And Gunther says he's out in both. So he's having as good an evening as we are.
Rough.
Just dialed into the tone.
Unfortunately, he is, yes.
Unlucky, Gunther. So, guys, tell us something good that's happening in your lives at the moment.
Well, I was wondering if Simon Lawler had come on just to have a chat with Stuart about yesterday's football.
Yeah. Neil Warnock is the senior.
What did we have? Forest and Middlesbrough yesterday?
Yep.
Yeah.
How did it go?
Borough picked up the win.
It went well for Stu. Get used to hearing the result 1-0 Borough this year.
I don't care. Honestly,
Absolutely.
Neil Warnock is a genius. The man's an absolute. He's one of them people where you absolutely despise him if he's not at your club. But as soon as he comes to your club, you think he's the greatest thing ever. He's brilliant.
Who's that? Simon Lawler?
No, Neil Warnock. Simon's just everyone despises him.
Nobody despises Simon.
Nah, that's impossible, isn't it? I mean,
how could you?
And JP, can I say we're about 20 minutes into the stream now, and you haven't mentioned the rugby once, which I think was very generous of you, because I frankly had tears just streaming down my face last night.
Do you know? Obviously it's good to be champions, but whenever we win it, everyone says that you should win it with all the resources you've got. It just all does feel quite surreal, though, doesn't it? Just the empty stadiums, the massive gap in between.
I was thinking that today, JP. I was thinking, to be honest, when they look back at this year, they're going to go, who won the Six Nations?
Yeah.
I'm going to go, don't care. They're going to say, who won the Premier League? I'm going to say, don't care.
Oi.
It's like, because it's just.
You want that Liverpool out winning it this year.
It's just going to be about COVID, and that's what 2020 will be remembered for. I mean, any sporting achievements this year are just pretty much insequential, really.
It's a funny thing because Des totally agrees with you on the rugby, but not on the football. It's ever so weird, that isn't it? How people just sort of adapt.
Somebody said on Twitter today, I thought it was quite funny. They said, Liverpool have gone somehow we've gone back to the top of the Premier League, first time this season, and with lockdown coming on Thursday. Somebody said, typical Liverpool fan, chest out. Oh, wait for the null and void Carew now to get into us this weekend.
Yeah.
No, I have to say, football, rugby, all sports seems a little.
It is very odd, isn't it?
Yeah.
And
just going to say the bubbles just burst in the Sunday roller. Brendan had pocket jacks, and he knocked out Jeff Talbot, who had pocket tens. So Jeff, unfortunately, is our bubble boy in the tournament. So we're down to 10. So congratulations to the 10 that are all in the money.
So who we got? You got Brendan. Is Brian can still see Brian? Yeah. Who else we got?
Yeah, Dean Pearson's in there, and Andy Heath is playing. Andrew Drago is in there. So and then Ben Kett is in there as well. So once we get to time to a final table, we'll probably give it a little bit of focus. But Brendan is going for 3 final tables in a row. He won this 2 weeks ago. Final tabled last week when he was on the show, and has come back for a little. Come back for a little bit more roller action.
Quietly, that's a nice little payday every week, isn't it? That's a nice little tournament to find.
Guys, it gets better because just because he can, and just to wind everybody, he's currently playing just with one hand.
Excuse me?
He's playing one-handed at the moment. One-handed online poker, Brendan is at the moment. So as he's unfortunately.
Oh, of course he is. Of course he is. Yeah. He's damaged his other hand.
Trying to think. I don't know whether you heard. Yeah, no, I don't know whether you heard the show, but Brendan had a motorbike accident.
Yeah, oh no.
Yeah, so had to have an operation on his shoulder, I think it was.
He's sort of. I think he's coming back, but he's a little bit worried longer term. You know, stuff like raising your arm sort of up towards your head and stuff like that, just getting real.
No more Morris dancing for you, Brendan. Sorry, mate.
No more Morris dancing.
Well, you get a bit of that in Ireland. I mean, obviously, there's a huge amount of Morris dancing. Oh, sorry, I think you mean Irish dancing. It's much more about the legs. You keep the.
I was say he doesn't need his arms. Doesn't need his arms for that, does he?
Hell no. Keep those arms down. Dead arms.
For some reason I'm now just picturing, Brendan and Frank and Brian Frew and all the guys, river dancing, at an 8 event somewhere down the line.
I think in fairness, just add a little bit of colour to that. Brian Frew would be on the edge of the stage with his flageolet,
with the penny whistle.
Bloody whistle.
Oh, I can see that. Hell yeah, the boys in. Yeah. Oh no, God no.
It all took a turn, didn't it?
I was going to say, I'm not sure whether our insurance would cover it, Des. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, back in the day when my 2 daughters used to Irish dance, and they did, and we used to have to go around to goddamn Irish dancing festivals in places like Luton and Wembley and you name it. We were there. Yeah, it wasn't the stadium, mind, but we went there. I used to once upon a time. I used to little live updates on Facebook from the Irish dancing, where I would murder the entire scene as I saw it, because it was pretty terrible. You'd have a 7-year-old girl, right, dancing under the weight of the world, and at the back of the room, her mother would often be stood behind all of the people, like doing, ankle movements and leg movements and stuff like that, telling the kid how to dance. Oh, it was ferocious. Anyway, I'm sorry for frightening our listeners away with that story.
So you think I'm not live updating this anymore? I've got to move to poker. Is that basically how it happened?
No, to be honest, I had a tremendous audience. I kept going.
It's proper parenting pressure, though, isn't it? That type of thing. Whether it's things, things like the dancing and the things like gymnastics is pretty serious as well, isn't it? At a young age, where they're pushing their kids to succeed.
Yeah, there's a lot of people going out talking about how there being like abuse cases in gymnastics, isn't there? Where they're being pushed too far by the coaches and stuff.
Yeah.
To break the hands in and stuff and all that kind of things. It's
there's been a lot of stuff in the press, hasn't there, lately about bullying in gymnastics GB or whatever the right terminology is. My nephew got quite good at gymnastics. He's very young. I think he's about 6 or 7 or something. And I think they've decided to scale it back a bit, because it's getting to the point where some of his peers are doing 3 hours a night at that age training. Wow. It's ridiculous, isn't it? Wow. It's just too much.
I tell you what, my son, one thing that he was really magnificent at a relatively young age, and I think you might have a bit of this in you as well, JP, was yoga. He was really, really good at yoga. Tell me, how's your yoga, JP? Do you have any tips for us?
No, I don't know anything about yoga. I've no idea.
And I thought I'll just do it myself at home from a book, Now, there's 2 great benefits to home yoga, which I'd like to share with you. One is you don't have to pay. And 2 is you don't have to do it.
Who is that good-looking bloke? That's what we all want to know, JP. Have you been moonlighting?
No idea what you mean.
JP,
Just an advert.
that is absolute. Oh
I
my!
think that's JP, guys. Tell me what you think. I think that's JP. What do you think? Oh, we're not getting anything from him at all. There's no secrets.
There's
secrets.
no.
So
There's no grey in that beard. It can't be.
Yeah,
JP.
exactly what I said. Yeah, there was no grey. So Curly sent me that picture weeks ago. So get off my telly. I think the grey in the beard was my exact comment. Then I was on a work call even before I went back to work. And someone had mentioned it on the call, and then it got tagged in. I think during the chat last Sunday on APAT.
Yeah.
I think it was. I don't know, but there was a lot of people in agreement. So. He's got a ridiculous accent, though.
It is just bonkers, actually. It really. First time I saw it on the telly, I literally did a double take. I was like, what?
I think I own that shirt as well.
I said, well, it all looks credible. Up to the voice, the whole thing looks credible. Lee and I'm sure we had a meeting or something last week, Lee. And during the meeting or at the end of the meeting, you said to me, have you seen that Nationwide ad? JP. And I went, yeah, I've seen that. I thought I was the only one that saw it.
The thing that gives it away, though, the thing that is conclusive proof that we are two different people, his line at the end, he's actually funny. So I realised then that, that was my...
So clearly fit.
So Nelly says in the chat, she says, it's the same in ballet and tap.
Yeah.
Some mothers are so vicious.
Well, what about didn't we see documentaries on the Chinese with their children doing ballet and stuff? Was it Chinese? Could it have been Russians? They break their toes and their feet. Holy Christ. That is pretty bad.
It takes kind of Sunday morning kind of parents on the touchline at a football match to a whole nother level, doesn't it? Really, it's just
we're all the same because Sunday morning football parents, quite a lot of them get a bit heated, don't they? Over stuff that happens in the game.
I'm quite lucky though. Like I say, obviously, cricket's like my kind of main game. I'm captain of our second team. We've got a lot of junior players playing for us, and their parents are all fantastically well behaved. They basically just turn up and drink wine and applaud when everything's happy.
Tosser. Sorry, carry on, Stu.
I hear that a lot. It's not fair. I never thought you'd be the one to jump in there.
Sorry, I'm captain of the cricket team.
the seconds. Yeah, the seconds. They don't.
He shouldn't have cricket up there in the northeast. It's too genteel. Too genteel.
That's very true. It's not when I'm captain, mate. Trust me.
Yeah, listen, Yanni Carousel is with us. Phil the Skill-Wise is with us as well. Greg Morton says, evening, guys. Great show. We mentioned Nelly. Grace says, are you expecting APAT traffic to go up in lockdown? I'm not so sure. I don't know. I think because people have been through the first lockdown, I think they're going to be a lot better set in terms of just being in the, into a normal sort of routine. So I'm not so sure that we will, but we might do.
Quick mention for Greg. He's captain of the wildcards team that are currently top of squads for this week. There are now 18 players left in. All three of his teammates are busto, so he's the only one from the wildcards left in the tournament. The Four Nations guys, Nye, Kev, O'Hanlon, Nelly, and Steve Healy, they've all bust. They're currently in second place. Celtic Storm have only got Frank left in. So it's currently looking very much like the wildcards could have this sewn up this week.
Okay.
So if that's the case, well done to Greg and the guys.
And I think Brian Fru's just had a double in the roller final with a sneaky pair of fours.
Yes, we've actually since the bubble burst. I thought normally it kind of, you get a few exits, don't you guys, really, as soon as the bubble goes and then away you go. But actually, we've still been 10-handed for a while now.
It's ones against twos.
Two's a win, surely.
Ones take it. Low card. That's another double for Brian Fru. He's just doubled. Sweet. He's got a stack now.
Yeah, it's a bit of a strange raise into the very short stack there with King Jack, I think. That's just me.
So, Greg's asked an interesting question, guys, with regards to poker. Obviously, I think a lot of people came back to online poker March, April, and a lot of players stayed, I have to say. Now, some have gone away again, and that makes sense. What do you guys think will happen through October, November? Do you think is that sort of buzz to come back gone a little now? And, for some people, yeah, we'll continue to play. Others, there'll be other things to spend our money on.
I think some will have rediscovered the love for it and will stick with it, as they clearly have through APAT and elsewhere. So I think you'll have some of those. So I think the overall number will have gone up from pre the first lockdown for sure. But yeah, probably that initial spike, I imagine people like myself, sort of kind of now that I'm back at work, found a few other things to do, definitely playing a lot less. Just can't wait for live to start, but that's looking a long, long, long way away.
Yeah. No, that's fair enough.
And that is, I think, very much the case. It's looking, I mean, I originally had it kind of in my mind that we might, maybe we'd be looking something around Easter time, maybe next year for a live event. But that was probably when I was thinking maybe 3-4 months ago. If you ask me now, I'm probably thinking maybe not even next summer. We could be well into next year before actually there's an appetite and there are venues that are prepared to do anything.
It's being cleared to do it, and then it's your population having the desire to want to do it and feeling really safe.
I think the desire from the population will be there. It's getting to a spot where it's like morally right to do it, isn't it? I suppose. I mean, where where you're sure that it's all that everyone's going to be safe and.
Yeah, I mean, Rob Young was on the Orbit a couple of weeks ago, and his statement was quite clear on it. He said he didn't think there would be any major live series or events until there was a vaccine. That was his take on it.
Yeah, that makes sense because it is such a contagious environment, as we've touched on before. And actually, John Young said when he was a guest way back, he said he didn't think there'd be a WSOP next year. Let alone this year, did he? Do you remember that?
He did, didn't he? Yeah.
I'll tell you what, it's looking a lot more sensible and credible, that particular comment now. It feels like he could well be right on that. We will see. I mean, maybe...
Sorry, go on.
No, you fire ahead, please, JP.
Oh, no, sorry, I was going to change subject completely because there's something caught me out the corner of my eye. But you go. No, I was just asking whether Stu's happier about Middlesbrough's resurgence or the demise of the Patriots. Must be enjoying that.
A little from column A and a little from column B.
Nice.
It's just annoying to see. It's just annoying to see Tom Brady doing well at the Buccaneers, but now Borough-wise, it's just nice seeing us competitive again and having a team that is going to be irritating and hard to beat.
The championship is going to be it's going to be super competitive, I think, this year. Whereas in the past few years we've had a couple of teams that have pretty much been up there and then stayed, so they've been guaranteed. I wouldn't want to call it this year, much like the Premier League actually. If you look at that at the moment, there's not very many points covering sort of second down to 17th.
Well, that's right, and I think most of us were probably thinking, Liverpool, City, whichever side of it you're on, it's probably going to be those two again, and then maybe how good were Chelsea and Man United going to be? But actually, it's all up in the air, isn't it? Like you just said, Lee, there's, and you just don't know where Man United are, do you? Because they go and have those results in Europe, and then they get done today.
Oh, they were awful today. Absolutely.
Were they? I heard they weren't great.
Absolutely. Yeah. But to be honest, they were awful against Chelsea last weekend as well. And really, 5-0 flattered us during the week. It was a bunch of late goals because for whatever reason, Leipzig absolutely collapsed during the week. It was very, very strange. But we're at a final table for the roller, guys, just to let you know. So congratulations to Brendan. He's made it. So that's 3 in a row. Very well done to you.
Wow.
Can we just ask JP how Chef Weather getting on, please? JP?
We've lost I think we've lost the line, Stu.
He's quit, honestly.
Something's gone. I don't know.
Hey guys, sorry, did I miss anything? I think I might have accidentally muted or something.
If you want, JP, I can cut Stu's audio off from here. So if you want me to just cut him out for the rest of the show, just let me know.
Is that just for the rest of the show or for the rest of my life?
There's only so much I can offer here. But if you speak to Walmart...
Painful, JP, painful.
Hey, by the way, your brother looked very disturbing in that mask, didn't he? Has he not got one that fits? It covers 2/3 of his face.
He's only got a very small head, though, hasn't he? He's like
the definition of the word Des.
P-head.
Can you send that to Des to put up in the feed?
Oh, I haven't seen that. No, I'm
So
sure
I was
Trump
out.
would
I
love
got
him by the sound of it.
yeah. I was out in Northampton with a mate who's also from Borough the other week, and he had a Borough face mask. So I sent a picture to Stu saying I need to choose my drinking buddies better. And Matty sent me one back of him wearing the same mask, but on his small head, it's enormous.
Oh no. I have to say,
I think that's just going to be the norm, isn't it? This is the difference with this lockdown this time round. I think people are far more prepared for it. They're used to, going out having to wear masks, that kind of thing. If you think back to the original lockdown, mask wearing wasn't even really a thing, was it?
That's right.
In the
That's
UK,
right.
wasn't
We've been
even
doing that.
suggested.
We've been doing that in Ireland for years, Lee. For years.
Things with the masks, and again going back to the restaurant industry, it's weird because the front of house staff have to wear masks, but the people who are working in a kitchen that's like about the size of a broom closet don't. It's really weird. I don't understand. It's like really muddled kind of messages again.
Yeah, there's a lot of inconsistencies.
Yeah.
But listen, I'm struggling to get a word in edgeways on the football. I just wanted to say, I feel like I'm missing out on the championship this year. I've no idea who's in top. I've no idea sort of, who's at the bottom. I've just, because of the stupid way that they're running the Premier League at the moment, and I get why with the crowds and all of that. So they're trying to televise all of the games. So now on a Saturday, you only have like 1 or 2 Premier League games on at 3:00. So I'm not sort of, I'm not really focused in on 3 p.m. Saturday football. I'm missing a lot of the championship games. So, who do you think's likely to go up this year, Stu?
Well, just to answer a question you put in the middle of there, for a Sheffield Wednesday fan now living in Reading, it's currently quite horrendous, the table, because it's surrounded by Reading fans. Obviously, starting with a -12 didn't help. And Wednesday looked okay early doors, but they've been pretty terrible. I actually backed against us yesterday. Wickham were 5-1 to beat us at home, and I had a fiver on that because I thought they're just
you are getting you're getting Gary Monked. That's the issue.
Yeah, absolutely. I
mean, Reading were in pretty decent form until they played us.
Yeah, they won't sustain it. So I wouldn't expect them to go there.
So Des, top 6 at the moment are Reading, Swansea, Bournemouth, Norwich, Middlesbrough, and Watford. Yeah, so
interesting to see Bournemouth and Norwich up there.
Well, I pretty much wrote Bournemouth off start of the season, so I really think they would struggle down in the Championship because of the size of the club or whatever. They're actually still unbeaten, but they've just actually drawn a lot of games so far this season.
Fair enough.
The scary thing with the Championship now is that, so that's the top 6, but you look at then the next 6 after that, and it's Millwall, Stoke, Brentford, Bristol City, Birmingham, Huddersfield. A number of those have been in the in the Premier League,
big clubs,
proper big clubs. And actually, even if the bottom half of the table, Forest, Derby, Cardiff, QPR,
I think
Blackburn Rovers. It's a really tough division.
If I did say something, I'd say Birmingham will make a run for the playoffs under Aitor Karanka, because Karanka's a good manager. He knows how to manage that division. I think going up, you're probably looking at, I think Bournemouth and Swansea are probably like the kind of favourites for me.
Yeah,
I expect Watford and Norwich to be strong as well. Their squads are ridiculous for that league.
Are we seeing as many injuries in the Championship as we're seeing in the Premier League at the moment? So it's a lottery then. It's going to come down to squad strength and stuff like that.
Don't say that. We've only got like 18 professionals. The smallest squad I've ever seen in my life. Warner basically let like half the world go in the summer and then just didn't bother replacing them.
Yeah. Well, listen, guys, talking about the toughest championship in the world, I think it's Gunther here has asked a question. Is there any info on WCOAP? Is it going to go online? So, Lee, I mean, are we prepared to say anything yet?
No.
There's no information, Gunther. I've checked the file and there's nothing in there at the moment.
No, we are
there will be
talking. We have we have plans. We are talking to people.
Big plans.
Massive plans.
Huge plans.
Lee's got the best plans.
We've got
He's like Donald Trump.
Yeah, we have got some dates. It's just we're not at a point yet where we can kind of confirm those to anybody. But yeah, it's going to be big. It is going to happen online. We're really super positive, and I'm really excited about it. I don't know how you, because obviously you know as well, Des, what I know. So it is going to be super good. Really looking.
It's a couple of teasers, you two, aren't you? Well, you know this, and you know that.
Soon.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, Lee's nailed it there, guys. Nothing I can add to that.
So
it is
biggest
exciting.
question of the night. So you've got a 1 in 4 chance of getting this right. Carl Pilgrim has just posted and said "evening legend" with a little heart. Which one of us is he talking about?
Oh, it's JP, isn't it? Come on, I mean.
Oh, Des sounds a little bit. That was a little bit of a nervous laugh from Des. He sounds a little disappointed that it wasn't going to be him.
Well,
I mean, it's just...
Can someone message Emma and tell her? Can someone just send Emma a message and tell her to put Carl to bed, please?
Oh no, poor Carl. Poor Carl.
But it's going to be it is just a weird year. I mean, in general, whether we're talking about sport or whether we're talking about poker or just work or life in general, it's just people will look back on 2020 and the generations will probably it'll be in history lessons, won't it? Talking about what happened and everything.
What about Liverpool winning the league?
No, definitely not about Liverpool winning the league. Sure.
Damn.
As Dean's all in with Ace Jack, run into the pocket queens, Charlampus, and I think he's going to win that to double up.
Nice. JP, listen, really glad to hear you're back with the Danish crew. I've done a deal with one of your mates, football content wise. Guy called Paul Morris. Does that ring any bells with you?
Oh yeah. Well,
Paul?
I've known Moz since I was 11.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah, we played in the same youth football team way back then, and then you obviously had a lot of mutual friends, both in Northampton, and then he joined the business probably about. I've been with the business 15 years. I think he joined about 11 years ago, something like that. So I've known Moz a long time.
So
why did you deal with Moz? Is it just somebody you can actually look eye to eye? Because you are two of the shortest people I've.
JP, look, fuck off.
Are you ever?
Is the bleeping working? No, the bleep didn't work.
Are you ever able
Sorry
to
about
tell
that.
how far away the other one is?
Listen, So
JP talking like he's a giant, by the way.
I think he's a giant. He's a giant amongst short people, and that's fine.
He's a giant arsehole.
I can only just assume that they will have done any communication via Zoom, and they probably both got very close to their cameras.
Hey, look, some of the best relationships were formed online. Okay, we know this. So I think Paul is sort of pretty deeply across the Liverpool Carlsberg relationship.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I've come in from the other side of that and said we'll help you activate some of that, that relationship. And he's jumped on that very, very quickly. And I love it. He was very quick to act. Quick decisions. Boom, in there. Let's do it.
Yeah. No, he's like a dog with a bone. That bloke. Once he's got
I like that.
He's a Liverpool fan as well.
Yes.
He used to be. So before joining us, he was the sponsorship manager at Nationwide when they had the England contract and the Football League contract. So. He's been working in football sponsorships, his whole life. His whole working life.
And that's how you got the Nationwide deal, was it? Or
yeah, absolutely. It all links. Damn it!
Yeah.
Sorry.
I knew it.
Come back a second here. Right? He's a Liverpool fan. Where's he from?
Northampton.
Don't be
Not Liverpool. Yeah, sorry.
Don't be like that.
I don't want to creep you. I don't want to creep you all out. But Carl's come back saying, "Ha, I'm in bed."
Oh, hello. Give Emma our love, please. I don't mean it that way.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Back up.
Let's not. Come on. We're better than this.
Honestly, we'll have to take the stream down. Oh, there I go again. Right.
Oh dear. We're down to 13 in the squads and playing top 9 tonight. So
I'll tell you what.
Keep an eye. I think it's. I'll work out in a minute whether anyone can overtake Matty for MVP. I'll have a look in a minute and see how close that's going to be.
Lee, I think Stu will like this one. Jurgen Klopp, bless his German cotton socks, came out the last day and said, "A Scouser, right? A Scouser is an Irish man." Or an Irish woman who can swim. That's what he said.
Oh, Christ.
I mean, I liked it. I have to say, I quite liked it. I thought it was funny.
Well, yeah.
Probably accurate, too, to a degree.
Mm.
But, he's not just looking at people within the ring of Liverpool, as it were. We're all
I
credible.
must admit, he's got this ability to. He's very likable. He's got this ability to just kind of blend in, say the right things within the kind of communities that he's working, whatever. He's got a lot of the Fergie about him, which is why it frustrates me quite a lot, because he knows when to deflect things, and he says things at the right time to take stuff away from the team or whatever, and it's all about the rest of the world versus us, and that kind of feel. It's really frustrating because he's such a good. I don't know whether he's necessarily the best tactically football manager, but I think as a manager of a team and an organization and a structure, and to get the best out of the people that he's working with, there's not really many better around at the moment.
You say the comparisons with Fergie there. Like, I'm gonna have to call you up on that, because Klopp's likable and Alex Ferguson never was.
No,
That's
but I see but I see a lot of the things that he says and the things that he comes out with at times. You kind of think, well, what's he saying? And and it's all the games, isn't it? It's all the kind of taking the pressure off the team and focusing everybody on something else that actually doesn't really matter. He seems to be very good at doing that.
Making like all your fans send Jordan Pickford death threats and things. That'll be.
Oh, that's all right though. That's fine. He's only got little arms. I'll tell you one of the things that Klopp does well, Lee, that perhaps is a little underrated. He manages up very well. So it's not just, those beneath him, but I think he's got a real good grasp of the people above him as well. And he seems to get his way where he needs it without actually appearing to, make demands, which I think is that's a skill in itself, right?
Yep, I would agree. It's
yeah, definitely. I think, but like you say, I mean, for Stu, with we all know what Stu thinks about Liverpool, but for him to say he's so likable, because he is, but he is very ruthless behind the scenes as well. So I've heard. So he combines that brilliantly, and that's very, very difficult to do.
Dean Pearson's all in the roll-up. He's been called by Brian Frew. Andrew Drago's re-popped it. Brian's got out the way, so it's Ace King versus Queen 10. Dean's going to need to hit here, and he doesn't. So Dean is going to depart in 8th place. Another good run from you, though, Dean. Very well done.
We had a leggy centre-back called Marmadou Sakho, who's currently with Crystal Palace. And Sakho played reasonably well when Klopp joined Liverpool at centre-back. But he turned up for a few things late, and he interrupted a Klopp interview on during the summer break at the end of his first season. And within weeks, he was gone. I think Klopp is much more ruthless than you might imagine.
You say gone, but how much did you get for him?
Detail. We probably made good money, but
you did.
The point,
you
we probably did. We sold him for about 159 million. And no,
you got some ridiculously good money from. Just another all in a call. 10s versus Ace King on the high
it's all
roll
happening
table.
now.
And King on the river, which means Greece are going to knock out the Netherlands player, which I've now got to
Mr. Van Leeuwen.
The two longest named players at this final table, so makes it interesting for my for typing these in. So we've just lost. I've just got to get his full name up. It doesn't even fit on the whole of the screen.
Mr. Van Leeuwen.
Yes, he's got a lot of middle names. That way.
I dislike the middle names. I think they've got that wrong.
Yeah, I don't quite understand why they need to do that on the real names. They can surely just put first name, last name. But he's Michael, Matthias, Louis, Herman, and then I can't see the rest of it because it cuts it off. So, but anyway, he's finished in 7th place. So, and who knocked him out? Des, the Greek player. What's his?
Charalampos.
What's his surname? What's his surname?
C.
Sorry, what was it again?
The Greek C.
Yeah. At some point, one of us is going to have a go at pronouncing Charalampos' surname.
Well, anyway, I see.
Send it to me. I reckon I can do it. I reckon I've got
Chatsy,
that.
I can't see anything more than Chatsy. Is it all there?
There's a whole load. There's a whole load after that. Yeah. So
Chatsy Manhoil.
So that sounds quite
just
good.
Rolls.
That did sound quite wrong. That.
Yeah. Detail. Brendan is in the chat box. He calmly says hi guys as he saunters towards his third decent payday on a Sunday night.
Currently chip leader now in the high roller. And there we go. I've
I think-
got the hold of Michael's first. So it's Michael Matthias, Louis Herman, Maria van Leeuwen. The Dutch player.
Good work. Maria.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, Brendan is like a fruit machine. If he wins this thing again, he's like the one-armed bandit, isn't he?
Absolutely, yeah.
This I might maybe need to take some credit for this because it's only the third time I've been on, and one of the other occasions when Brendan didn't get a first and a second in the same night. Do you remember that?
Oh, you could be
He was
right.
heads up with
You'd be
Scouse
right. Yeah.
in one of them,
Yeah.
and I can't remember which one he won and which one he's second in, but yeah, he had a good night then too. Or maybe he's just a good poker player.
Brendan's
I'm not
just
telling
messaged
him
me and
that,
said, "Can I book JP for next week's show?" Yeah, so yeah.
There you go. Yeah, there you go.
Simon says, look,
So,
you haven't
yeah.
got 6 Russians on the final table. I think that's a good call too.
Oh, I have a nightmare trying to do if it's Russian names. I'm sure everyone's had a good laugh at my attempts at trying to type them at sometimes on the in the results. I just have to go with what looks best. Unfortunately, no other thing for it.
Have to do what you have to do, Lee. So listen, back to Annette Oberstad. I must admit, I haven't looked at any of her videos in several months now. Have either of you gents looked at Annette's travel stuff or hotel stuff, or is she
No.
just? A
I believe
past
you.
thing?
I believe you. You'll believe when I say I didn't even know she did travel videos.
Yeah, same.
I didn't.
Yeah,
I literally haven't heard of her since 2010 or whatever.
Yeah, I must admit to have been in exactly the same position, and I'm not quite sure how she was brought up. But Simon weighed in a thread, probably as far back as March, where she was mentioned on the show and said she was doing hotel reviews and makeup reviews videos on YouTube, which frankly I was a bit gobsmacked at because it just seemed weird. Had a look at them; they're quite reasonably produced. She's got quite a following there, and I guess she can monetize that sort of stuff. Maybe she's fallen out of love with poker. I don't know, but it seemed a really odd departure from something that she'd done really well with in the past. But who knows? Maybe she hit her 20s and lost her mojo.
When she was playing poker, she was like one of the first really relentlessly aggressive players that was around, wasn't she?
Yeah, you got to respect her for her game. I mean, what she achieved at a young age was incredible.
Yeah. I think it was like a relentless aggression when she was playing, but the problem was that then everyone started playing relentlessly aggressive, and she kind of just got lost in the wash, so to speak.
Yeah, well, I think that's probably fair enough. She was maybe ahead of her time. It's quite the thing to be able to bring that style of poker from online into live, and perform at WSOPEs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Win big events. I think she won like 2.5 to 3 million in her Hendon Mob. So it's pretty.
That's
pretty
crazy.
impressive.
Really.
Yeah.
So we just lost Brian through in 6th place. So well done to Brian. Just want a quick shout out on the Poker Squad's MVP for the week, because Matty Ogilvie from Canada is currently top for playing for the Wild. I say he's from Canada. I'm assuming you are, Matty, because you've got a Canadian flag, but actually you might not be. You could actually just be in the UK, but maybe Canadian anyway. But he's currently top of the MVP. The only person that can catch him is Jamie White, who's currently 4th of the remaining 12 players. Jamie needs to win tonight to do it. So that's the plan, Jamie, if you're out there listening. A win is what's required. He's just gone chip leader with 12 left. So
Easy game, mate. Easy game.
Well, we somehow rarely don't get drama on a Sunday night. We always tend to end up with a late runner coming from somewhere, and I wouldn't be surprised if Jamie goes deep in this, given his position at the moment. But you think the wild cards have the team locked up, Lee? They're pretty close
pretty
to
much.
that
They've got Greg still in with 12 left, although he is the short stack. Four Nations and Celtic Storm are all done now, as are the Purple Ackies. Aussie's Dream is Andrew playing. Andrew is playing tonight, but he's 150 points off, and there's not. So pretty much wild cards have got that one sewn up, and we'll see whether Matty can do the double and be MVP as well as being part of the winning team as well. Doesn't happen very often.
Lee, here's an interesting one. So, Greg raised a couple of concerns over the last week or so with regards to the team event and how it runs out and stuff like that. Is that a discussion we can have now? Do we want to do that another time? How can we?
No, of course we can. Because actually,
the guys to stay as on the
I'm,
right side of the law as they can.
Yeah,
do.
it's interesting because, and actually, it doesn't hurt having kind of JP and Stu's kind of involved in this as long-time APAT players that will have played numerous team events, both live and online over the years. And we've always got the balance of whenever especially when we do a team event online, that there's always concerns over collusion, and we always make it very clear that you need to follow the terms and conditions that whoever our provider is at the moment, it's Party Poker, have in place, and you have to follow those. So we're always very keen to say that chip dumping and collusion is an absolute no, and if you get found out for doing it, then you get what's coming to you, basically. There's nothing we're going to be able to do about that, but we are always aware that there is you don't want to bust your teammates in a tournament, and it's that line of just making sure that you're playing within the fairness of the game, but at the same time you're probably going to ever so slightly soft play against your teammates in some situations. It's finding that balance, and it's a difficult one because some players are comfortable with that, and they see that and others see it as very much, well, no, you should be playing absolutely as you would normally, irrelevant of the team element. But there is kind of this human nature thing, guys, isn't there, where you're just going to not want to.
Is it me, or is it if you play in a team game and you complain about people soft playing against their teammates, you probably missed the point of a team game? I don't know. It's just you're playing in a team game. You got to expect it. It's like, it might be annoying if you let them get away with it, but
so where do you think is the line? Where do you think is the line,
Stu.
guys? Well, where's the line? So what is not acceptable?
Oh, I played in an APAT team game for England in Belgium, and I got trapped between two Welsh people, one trying to dump chips and the other one, and I've shoved into him with a better hand and lost.
You're still in therapy for that, I presume, yeah? Yeah.
Well, yeah, obviously it was against bloody John Rees, and I lost when I shoved over the top of him. But it's like you got to expect it, and then you deal with the situation how you think you can deal with it. It's a part of the game. You're playing a team game. You want to get the point of it is to get the points. And if they're trying to chip dump, then you stop them doing it by being very aggressive to them.
I think if it's glaringly obvious chip dumping, certainly online, then it's going to get picked up, and it's a no-no, absolute no-no. If it's an absolute blatant chip dumping, then that's just not on. In the same way, if there was actually blatant collusion where they're sharing their hands with each other, again, throw the book at people. I've got no time for that whatsoever. It's not part of the game. Even within a team game, that's not part of the game. But there is going to be a point where you might choose to not make a call against one of your teammates because you don't want to go down to showdown against them with the potential that you might bust them with whatever hand you've got. It doesn't matter. Now, obviously, in a live game, the cards can't really get looked after they've gone in the muck very easily. So it's normally kind of done and dusted. Obviously, online, you've got security teams, and Party Poker have rooms full of people that literally sift through hands and will.
I think there are probably
question
4/5.
what's going.
I think 3 to 4/5 of hands are decisions, right? And 1/5 of hands are probably not decisions. So, it's your choice whether you want to call somebody with, the 7, 8 of hearts or not, or whether you think you can get a better spot. And if, one of the variables that you choose to make your decision is that actually the guy you're calling is your teammate, then that's one of the variables. And I think that's totally fine. It's a yes or no decision. There isn't an absolute right or wrong. But I think, if you're holding aces and your teammate has whatever, 2 cards and is incredibly short, for me, you've got to call that. You've absolutely got to call that.
Yeah.
And of
That's
course,
the point,
there are some times strategically when actually it might be to your advantage to take your teammate out, double your chip stack in some instances, and go on for the win. It isn't always about keeping your teammate in.
Certainly in the poker squads games, we're obviously we're quite top heavy with the points. So actually, one of your team going on and winning a tournament on a night is actually probably better for your team than both of you busting before the final table. That's the reality of it. And obviously the other thing is that you take tonight's deep stack game, for example. I mean, there's $106 up top for winning it. Well, that's more than any individual added value that we do in a week.
Yeah.
So the fact is, actually players are actually, from a financial point of view, better off winning, going deep in the tournaments each night than they are necessarily winning the added value. And but I think most of the players with the poker squad, it's more about the kudos of actually winning one than it is necessarily the added value. I don't actually think that necessarily comes into play massively. I think it's actually they're all too busy trying to outdo each other in what they do.
I don't agree with one of the points, which is around calling your teammate when they're all in, no matter what your hand is. So I would say that coming under soft play, that you probably are going to be in scenarios where you're looking at folding aces. So, for example, if the blinds and antes are getting quite big, your teammate's in the big blind, you're in the small blind, it gets folded round, you're probably folding blind. I think where it gets really murky is where you've got significant individual money and the team event going on at the same time when they're both factors. So when we play sort of nations events and it's just about points, then I think soft play is to be expected, and you have to factor that into the dynamic. But then I would be a bit controversial and maybe go a step further and say, why don't we just say anything goes for a team game?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, I think the issue is that no operator would sign off on that, JP.
On an online one, yeah. I accept that. On an online scenario,
right.
yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
In my experience of talking to people about the games, and I think we realistically, I think I can say this, we pioneered team games in the UK at scale and have run them for many, many years now. In my experience, players who participate in them, the money is often secondary to the glory, of getting your team to the top. You're going to rail your team to the end, that sort of thing. It doesn't even matter if you've been knocked out. So it's a completely different poker experience to an individual poker experience. It really isn't as simple as saying, poker is an individual game, team elements are for leaderboards. I think there's a different dynamic at play.
We've all played team games, and you do know that it feels different and it plays differently. It definitely does. It's a completely different experience to playing like an APAT team game to playing like in nationals or like the team events, like the other ones. It's like it plays completely differently to a normal APAT event. Completely differently.
I mean, if you look at our APAT Worlds team championships, players come from literally all over Europe to play that event, and it's like a £100 buy-in. Top prize is going to be about, I don't know, £200 or £300 per player, but they're traveling from all over Europe to play it. It's quite the thing, because it is completely a different thing. And very often there's far more lucrative events going on in the poker room as and when it's playing out, but you couldn't find a bunch of players more committed to one individual event than that one. Yep,
definitely. I mean,
it's an interesting
I've been involved in it. The emotion you go through in those events is like far more extreme than it is in a normal event.
Yeah,
but what do you think? What do you think? I'd agree with Stu. Yeah, but what do you think, Des? To if a live event, I accept it for online. APAT have pioneered a lot of different things. What about an anything goes team event? Within reason. Not. I'd probably draw the line at any signalling or revealing your hand, but.
I was thinking some sort of semaphore flag thing going on. I was just imagining.
Listen, I wouldn't be against it, but I suppose the real key thing is that the rules are completely clear to everyone, so that everyone understands exactly what the strategy involved in the event is. Yeah.
Exactly.
And you know, when you have that online operator set of T's and C's there, they will always be grey. And you're always at the behest of an individual looking at a data, you know, looking at a data, table online, who may very well suggest that, you know, those aces that were folded to that sort of 4-3 offsuit is just, that's got to be, some sort of fraud. So while that exists, you've just got to be extremely careful in terms of the way you play these things out.
I think online it's not possible. It's not possible online.
Yeah. So, but live specifically, you know. So you'd have a scenario where one teammate, let's say it's a an international event. One of the team has managed to get a very, very big stack. Okay, they've got a teammate who's quite short. They move all in minus 100 chip from, say, a mid position. Isolate. Hang on, I haven't thought this through, have I? Need to be that's right. Yeah, isolate, and then I'm just thinking
the short stack moves in, and like the guy folds for the extra 100.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You couldn't fold, could you? Because you have them covered. But there are ways where you can do it in such a way that you do fold for the extra. Yeah, so you put in basically 100 less than they have.
Yeah, I think providing it's very clear to everyone, then it becomes actually a skillful part of the game. And as Brendan has said in the chat box, you know, that the trick is to adapt and to question how you can take advantage of the dynamic.
Yep.
Because indeed, if you're up against a bunch of players who are trying to keep another player in, then there's an advantage to be had there. You just need to figure out what it is.
Absolutely.
But there's actually, interestingly, just on that point, just quickly, it's interesting. We've had a number of discussions on this show about when you're playing a poker tournament and you're down to maybe 3 or 4 runners, and you're the chip leader, about trying to keep the short stacks in. So so there's elements of the tournament which are not team related, where you will make decisions that might not be what you would normally do in the normal runnings of a tournament, but because of scenario at that point in the tournament, we had James Lee on here telling some great tips about how to play poker, and I'd never even given it much thought about wanting to keep the short stack in so you could attack the middle stacks in a tournament when you're chip leader deep. When you're deep in, and it's something that I'd never thought of. But I've had
that chat with Jay. It's great.
Yeah, but obviously that is different play.
It is.
To how you would normally play a tournament. So you might choose. I mean, okay, would you fold aces against the short stack? I don't know. Maybe you would, if in that and go, well, actually, I don't want their chips yet. I'm prepared to carry on beating up the others at the moment. I don't know.
The guys who can't play because they the people go out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I suppose if you were given a call by a compliance officer at an online operator, and he said, look, you've had instances here where you folded aces against a short stack. As far as we're concerned, that's fraud, and you've been found out. You've broken the T's and C's. Well, if you actually feel that actually it was part of game strategy why you did that, I think as long as you turn around with a credible response, which is, don't be an idiot. This is why I've done it. It's bizarre that you guys can't see this. Then in that instance, I dare say you're not breaking the rules of the tournament because you have a very clear reason as to why you're playing in that way.
I once got we're playing a satellite at a card room, which I like, basically local one, and we were playing a satellite, and we were down on the bubble, and I was chip leader, and it's full around with a small blind. I've looked down at aces, and I've flipped them over and folded because I'm chip leader at this point in time. I've got a seat locked. I don't need to play the hand because the only thing that's going to happen is that they're basically because I can't. The only way, the best thing we do in that spot is to fold and just wait for someone else to go out because I don't need to play. So I've got a seat locked up.
So in a satellite scenario, even more so, Stu. Yeah, you're spot on in a satellite situation.
This is great because the tournament director came over and gave me a 2-orbit penalty for a collusion.
Really?
At which point I stood up and thanked him for the 2-orbit penalty and walked away from the table. I wasn't going to hand anyway. So, but yeah, it's just like sometimes people don't. The point is sometimes that people don't understand the kind of dynamics of the game, which is at the point there.
As we were saying a few minutes ago, it is a different time period to when Annette Oberstad was winning a lot of chips, and it might be that some of the organisers, are slightly older and just don't see it the same way. But it is a different game today, and it's moving very, very quickly.
It would be quite scary, though. I mean, I've said this before. It would be quite scary if everybody just played poker following the maths and just following this is what you should do in that particular situation.
Tedious, wouldn't it?
Black and white. That's it. It would be, it would be quite boring if that was the case. But what I would say, just bringing it back round on the team event element, certainly with poker squads, is we just want everybody to play it in the spirit that it's meant, and that's the idea. And if everybody sticks to those rules, then we won't have any problems whatsoever. But what I would say, just added, because Greg is in the chat, and to be fair to Greg, he's taken a bit of stick over the past week or so by raising the subject. But actually, and I said this to Greg in a message, I'm sure he won't mind me repeating it on here. We appreciate these discussions, and they're important discussions to have with poker players, and not everybody's going to agree on their side or their view on it particularly, but to not have these discussions is actually far worse. So the fact that APAT in the last 14 years, we have these discussions and we openly have them, and give everyone a chance to say what their view is on it. And I don't necessarily judge anybody on it. Sometimes it can get a little bit personal with people at times, and we try and tell people just to rein it in a little bit in that case, because ultimately we're a community, and you're entitled to bring things, and people will learn from it. Some people will just sit and read it. I know a number of people that have messaged me in the past week and said the particular discussion that was on the Facebook group said it was a great read. And I don't think they were just talking entertainment. I think they actually found it genuinely interesting to get people's take on it.
Yeah.
So,
just a quick point with the team play stuff. But it works the other way. If you're in a team that's got nothing to play for, and you know that somebody is there trying to grind for points for their team, there's not many people that can say they'll be in that situation. There's not just thought, I'm just going to stick it in your eye every hand because you can't do anything about it.
Absolutely.
It works both ways. It's like
I remember a hand in Newcastle. I think you were playing this tournament, Des, representing Ireland, and I think John Murray made a extremely loose call against one of his teammates who was short stacked, who'd shoved on him, and John had the scary thing is I think it might have been 5 deuce offsuit, but trust me, that's just a coincidence if it was, for those that have been reading the Facebook group this week will know what I mean. And he bust his teammate. Genuinely. So he was effectively just going, I'll call with rubbish because he'll double him up and and he ended up busting him. So it can work the other way.
Yeah. I think the other thing that you mentioned there, Lee, which I think is really important in terms of just summing up what you said, you mentioned that we are a community. And I think that is a really important variable here. We're not sort of, if you like, a pretty anonymous sort of tournament on Party Poker. We are a community that has developed and matured over 14 years. I'd hate to think there are cliques there. I think there are strong bonds and relationships that have built up over the years. But in a community game, things are slightly different to an incredibly individual sort of orientated game where people don't know each other. So it is a pretty unique experience to play a team game. It's hard to compare it with other styles of individual poker games that are out there.
Just to answer Colin Lee's question, what site is this? This is Party Poker, which you'll find details if you have a look in our Facebook group. But this is one of the many APAT games that are played daily on Party Poker. So get involved, Colin, if you want to. That was my little sign-up bit there, guys, just in case you were wondering what that was.
Seamless.
I've got a tear in my eye, I have to say. Guys, what about talking about a tear in my eye? Sean Connery passed away today.
No, dreadful news.
Yeah.
The man's a legend.
Yeah,
absolute legend.
I thought Tom Banks summed it up quite nicely, though. He said, kind of ended perfectly, passed away in the Bahamas. At the age of 90. I mean, that's just the way to go, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, worst way to go.
Do it. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, it's weird, isn't it? It's somebody who's kind of obviously best known for James Bond, but really probably was the James Bond, wasn't he? Really, he's the one that really made the character, wasn't it?
No, I think so. Money penny. Sorry, Sean.
Oh, wow.
Really?
I don't know whether I could genuinely cope with
Sean.
2
He's
nights,
just gone. He's just gone.
2 nights in a row of Des doing impersonations. Honestly, if you'd have heard last Rob Needham's book launch last night, honestly, Des was in full flow. It was very.
I didn't do an impersonation last night, did I?
You can still catch it on Facebook.
Don't say that.
I mean, JP is a fantastic Danny Strange impression. JP.
I think you'll find Danny does a good JP impression.
No, yeah, he's JP too, isn't he? So that's a good point. I apologise.
But on the Rob Needham point, just if you didn't catch any of the book launch yesterday, go onto his Facebook page. You can rewatch the hour that Des did with Rob, chatting about the book, and we had a chat with Shirley Cole as well. It's well worth a listen for an hour. And if you haven't yet bought the book, please go and do it and support Rob. His writing is really, really good, and he's getting such rave reviews for the second book of the trilogy, the Steve Ash trilogy. It's well worth a read. If you like your poker or you like your crime thrillers, or preferably you like both, then you'll absolutely love these. So do go and have a read if you can.
Yeah, nice. Sounds good.
So this is kind of this rollers. We've got down to 5, and we've been 5 for a little while now. But we're down to kind of average stack is now 725,000. We're blinds at 20,000, 40,000. So we're under 20 bigs now. So it's feeling like we should
skewed massively by the big stack, though. Like basically, there's only one person above the average stack.
Yeah. So the others are all now in it. It's a tricky one. What would you do if you were Andrew Drago? As we've see Andy and Heath and Brendan all in. What would you do if you were Andrew Drago here, Stu? Are you
he's got as much pressure as you can? He's only got what's the blinds at? Sorry, I can't see.
20,000, 40,000. 24.
So he's got 30 bigs?
Yeah.
It's so difficult because it's like you've got a lot of 10, 11, 12 big blind stacks around, and it's so hard to play into. It depends how people are playing, really. I mean, I'd probably tighten up a little bit and wait for a cut to go out, then go nuts.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
I think because you got like Ben's obviously got 381k, which is less than 10 bigs now.
Oh, and there we go. Andy Heath's got ace jack, and it's 10s for Brendan. And the 10s are going to hold, and that's going to put Brendan up now pretty much level with Andrew Drago, chip leader, which means we lose Andy Heath in 5th place. Well done to you, Andy, though. Andy's been playing really well lately. Plays quite a lot of the 7 o'clock games with APAT. For anyone that's not playing those, every day of the week at 7 o'clock, we have a tournament, $10 buy-in. There's always a $33 ticket added, which you can claim via me if you win one of those. So that's the one we've got Mondays, PLO8. Then on Tuesday, there's a heads up. We've got, I think it's 6 max on a Wednesday. The biggest stud tournament on Party Poker plays out with APAT on a Thursday. And then Fridays, PLO, Saturdays, No Limit Hold'em, Sundays, the roller, and then we do it all again.
So Charalampo's just made like a raise, like 2.5x raise out of like about a 20x stack. It's really awkward to play. I think with this stack size, I don't particularly play with the gun, especially not with a 300k stack there.
Yeah.
Because at this point, you are looking at a ladder. And that guy is so short.
Honestly, what I should also say, Stu, is we're 4 players out, which means we are now on the medal bubble as well.
Yeah,
so top three.
When you've got someone that short, I don't think you want to be playing under the gun, and no mind raising 2.5x unless you've got aces and you're trying to induce. I don't know. It's a really weird spot.
Yeah. Say hello to Tristan's just giving us a late good evening to the guys. Hope all is well.
Stu, have you got Red Zone in the background, Stu?
I haven't at the minute, no.
The guy, some guy from Chicago, just absolutely lost the plot, and he's thrown 3 or 4 solid punches when they're both still helmeted up at the head.
That always confuses me.
Yeah, punch a guy with a helmet. Sorry, guys. It was, often. Funny enough, Henry, my girlfriend's boy, was asking today if I'd ever been involved in a proper fight when I played American football or seen one up close, and said no, not really, because it's a bit stupid to punch somebody with all that gear. But yeah, this was full on.
I thought if you'd ever been in a fight not playing American football. Yeah, it's
Not since I was about 13.
No,
we've got a question from Asa. I may need to read this a couple of times, but for you to get to grasp it. So, pot limit Omaha question for the boys. Are you ready for this? Have position with little comfort and knowledge of PLO hands, or be comfortable and knowledgeable of PLO hands, but be out of position.
Read it a second time.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you want it again? Because it's going to.
JP, it's basically, do you want to be in position with no knowledge of PLO hands, or be out of position with knowledge of PLO hands?
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
And I presume he means knowing how to play the game as opposed to knowledge of these specific hands.
I presume he means, yes, a knowledge of the game.
I'd rather be out of position with knowledge of PLO hands, to be honest with you.
Without shadow of a doubt. I think you can twist position back on its head a bit more in PLO, in my opinion, than you can in Hold'em. So there's ways to sort of use the fact that you're out of position by maybe, if you're strong, limping and then coming back, re-raising, which I know people try and do in Hold'em, but I think it's more likely to be effective in PLO.
Mm-hmm.
You play a lot more PLO than I do, Stuart. Do you agree with that? You see what I mean?
Yeah, I do. I'd rather with PLO. It's so easy just to get married to garbage hands because you think you've got two Hold'em hands or whatever, and it's just like having a knowledge of what is a good PLO starting hand is far more important than being in position in PLO. I think.
Yeah, because if you're strong and you know the guy to your left or two to your left is aggressive, well, if you can limp and feign weakness, knowing that he's probably going to come over the top for a pot close to par, and then you stick it in his eye. So that's a way of sort of twisting.
And if I know if I'm playing like out of position, but I know the guy in position has no clue what he's doing in PLO, I don't really care that he's in position because I can just play my hands to their merits, and I'll know what strength my draws are and stuff. It's just like you need to know the strength of your hand in PLO because it's so easy to think I've got 4 cards, I can't lose.
So we're watching Ben here, who's now shoved all in from the small blind. He folded his big blind to the shove from Show Olympus and gets that one through. So it's tricky because Ben's got a very short stack here now, isn't he? He's playing about six bigs. He knows if he makes the shove here, I'm guessing he's going to be looking at a call from Brendan's big stack, who's gone to over 2 million chips now, so has got well over half the chips in play. Is this Ben just hanging on here, do we think?
It looks it. He's not done a great deal. I mean, it's a hard spot for him now. He just needs to get a double up.
Yeah,
really
blinds have just gone up, so he's now got 4 bigs. Brendan's raised into him this time. He's going to have to call, or he's going to have to shove, I think, isn't he? I don't see how he can leave himself with 3 bigs, but maybe he will.
It depends on your hand. I mean, Brendan's played the hand well because he's got the massive stack now, and he can afford to be aggressive into those 2 stacks. Especially with Ben there and that stack now, he can just raise into the other 2 non-stop. The other 2 can't play.
I think the other 2 are also so low. I mean, they've got now 10 bigs, and as Ben makes a shove, I mean, he's got.
I don't like that reshove.
Oh, well, what a flop! What a flop! What a flop! So Ben's going to get a double up. You don't like the reshove? What? But he's got a call with the 8, so at least, doesn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, you can call with it, and then let Brendan call, and then you see where you go from there. But what happens if Brendan wakes up behind him with a massive hand? Then all of a sudden you could be going out. Okay.
Yeah, but Brendan could have played it then and just reshoved anyway. But yeah.
Well, if I'm Brendan, I wouldn't there because you can just play it for like very few chips, break another step on the ladder, and then just go from there.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough. But Brendan now seems to be okay. He's got them all at a point where he's quite happy to get involved in hands now. So Ace has just come back to say, yeah, one of the points I've made today elsewhere is if you're wanting to learn PLO, is just play as much as possible. Once you've got the knowledge, then knowing how to play positionally as well will only enhance things.
Yeah, I tell you, with PLO, the best thing to do is learn your hand ranges first.
Yeah, totally agree with that.
So, and we have some great games. You can play the squads game for $5.50. You can play the normal 7 o'clock game for $11 normally every week, and obviously then once a month we have the championship game at $33. So, loads of opportunities to play PLO. Actually, what I would say about playing APAT PLO, obviously the players are pretty good because they know what they're doing, but actually that isn't a bad thing. Because you can often play some of the PLO games that are available on the site, the more generic ones, and it feels people play a little bit looser maybe, and it's a lot harder to pick the game up. Would that be a fair thing?
Yes, I agree. But then if you've played a few of the APAC games and you've improved your own knowledge, then you can find yourself in good spots in those regular tournaments.
Yeah, definitely. You've got to adapt your game, haven't you?
I completely agree. And Pete Wigglesworth just says, yeah, discussing the team element of stuff. He said, if you've taken anything from this experience, is that we have to be respectful of the terms of play, and I think that's fair enough. Pete also says on the Omaha thing, it's good to run hands through a poker calculator as well in PLO. Do you guys do a lot of stuff of kind of looking at hands after the event and working out odds?
I used to do a lot more of it than I've done over the last year or so, but I mean, obviously, I think that being able to have a group of people you can discuss hands with and kind of just get different opinions from is fantastic. It's the best way to learn is by discussing hands with people.
I do use the calculator sometimes post to just see whether I made the right, made the right play or how marginal it was. Because sometimes you might feel like you're around the 50% mark. However, if there's dead money in there, you've got to take that into account. In Hold'em, I basically use the calculator just so I can moan about how bad my beat was.
Yeah, how lucky you got, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, don't be too concerned, guys, but Adam Neal has just admitted that he's been lurking.
What?
But he says great stuff, fellas, anyway. So love to get you on the show at some point, Adam, if you're up for it. Drop me a message.
Young lad's not been too well recently, so I hope he's getting better, mate.
Oh, okay. Well, sorry to hear that. So Ben's not just he's gone from being an absolute kind of shorty here to now second in chips. But of course, we're still in a situation where Brendan's got over 2 million and the other three are just kind of sat there on between, sort of 6 and 10 big blinds. Nobody wants to be the one that busts and doesn't get a medal. And wow, they've got it all in. We're on the Jack 5-9 board. 5 deuce for Andrew. It hit bottom pair. Charalampos, though, had the Jack. So that's Andrew gone absolute fumes now. Don't think he was overly impressed with the Jack 8, but...
Well, he had 5. Never mind.
Yeah, exactly. He's got opportunities up and down straight draw there, but misses out. So unfortunately, Andrew is going to depart fourth place. Picked up nearly $200 though for another good run. Again, Andrew Drago, player that plays quite regularly on our 7 o'clock games past few weeks and does very well. So we have our 3 medalists. Let's see how this plays out now. Brendan's got a significant chip lead on the other 2.
I mean, Brendan now just needs... I think I'll just be putting my foot down.
So Adam says, yeah, defo to get on the show. Hit me up anytime. We will do that, Adam. Definitely, I will take you up on that offer. Thank you very much. And he says he'll come through good. So that's good to hear.
Awesome.
So, actually, I changed my mind, Adam, because Carl says it'd be great to get Adam on the show. So maybe we won't now then if Carl's recommending you.
Is Carl still up?
Well, it
He
would
never
appear
was,
so.
Whoa.
Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. So Asa says another medal for Brendan Byrne. Yes, it is indeed. Let's see if he can make it a gold. We'll give a quick shout out to those that have already picked up medals so far this weekend. Friday night's PLO. David Bambridge won that, picked up $575 for that. Young lady by the name of Joe Chilmaid got the silver medal for $390, and Tobias Waltzer finished in third. Last night we had the No Limit Hold'em, and it was Andrew Douglas that picked that up. Matty Ogilvy, we're shipping a silver medal to Canada. Des, I hate to, hope we've got the budget for it. And then there's
Christ on a bike, Lee. What?
Yeah. It could get worse. We're sending one to the Midlands because in third place was a guy called Steve Redfern. Anybody heard of him? The name rings a bell, but well done to you, Steve, for picking up another medal to add to his. How many has Mr. Redfern got now? He'll probably be able to tell us, but
he will definitely know. He will
most
absolutely.
Most of us have lost count. Yeah.
He'll have a
dozen
somewhere.
Too many medals, but yeah. So we're going to ship. We're shipping a silver to Matty Ogilvy, who I think potentially is. Let's see. Yeah, Jay White has bust. So a great week for Matty. Not only has he picked up a silver medal last night in the 8-max game, he is also confirmed as Poker Squad's MVP for game week 30. So and part of the winning team as well. So a great week, Matty, for you. Well done. Absolutely superb. So Charlumpus here has picked up, sort of doubled up through now and has got to 1 million chips. It's not over yet. This is it, really. I know we said Brendan had a decent chip lead to start with, but it's far from being done and dusted.
Yes, I think if I'm betting now, I'm just whacking it all in with anything that looks nice because you're that far behind at the minute. If you get your double up, then and then the blinds are that big that they can't call you off that light, and you can chip up a little bit. So I like the way he's approaching this at the minute.
So what will be the plan for you then, Stu, for the next month with what's been announced? It is just a case of back on furlough for a month, and I know you jokingly said you quite enjoy the rest, but what will you do with your time? Have you got any plans or
just relax? I mean, I've got a few mates who've got some stuff going on in their lives, and I can just kind of be there a bit more. Like obviously just online and stuff, but. One of my good mates, his dad passed away, and then the next day he got diagnosed with coronavirus. So it's just a case of trying to be there for trying to be there for people like him, and just making sure he knows that he's got someone he can talk to and things. And like you say, it's just a case of just kind of making myself like as busy as I can be. There'll just be a lot of sat on my computer playing poker or just talking to people I know type of thing. I think.
So what are you playing poker wise at the moment?
I've not.
Did you play much during the summer with some? Because obviously there was just ridiculous amounts of big events.
Well, I was at work for the summer basically. I've not had much chance to do anything since July.
Does the Monster Series perfectly fit timing wise now? I guess.
Probably, yeah. I mean, I'm definitely having a look at stuff because I've not played as much as I'd want to because I've obviously been at work and things, but it's definitely something I want to try and get back into because I've not played as much as I'd like to recently. So,
yeah. I mean, one of the questions I think it might have been Greg asked earlier on said, will we see an increase in games? I mean, I would expect us to maybe see a few of the teams that maybe were playing earlier on in the summer decide, well, for the next couple of weeks, they might get back and play a little bit of a squad session maybe. As Brendan's all in with ace 4 against pocket 8s of Ben. And the 8s are going to be good. Actually, rivers are straight in the end. So Ben's got a double up. Well, they're now all pretty even stacks again, guys.
Yeah. Changes very quickly, doesn't it, at this stage?
And what about yourself, JP? Does lockdown mean just back working from home, or does it mean things are going to be on a this stuff is going to be put on hold?
Yeah, hard to say really. I mean, obviously 4 weeks of pubs and restaurants being closed and not ordering beer is not hardly ideal for me. I don't imagine I'll be re-furloughed just because I'm working on 2021 stuff anyway. But obviously it makes a huge difference to the business. So yeah, I've just got to get on with doing what I'm doing, and then those above will let us know if things do need to change again. It's like I say, it's not good. It's frustrating and concerning, but remain philosophical because there's a lot of people far worse off. So I've just got to, carry on with that. I've not long been back to work, so it was really good to be back, feeling valued again. But I've got, I've kept myself busy. I've been involved with some of the kids' football coaching during the summer. Since they've come back. Obviously, that's going to take a break now as well, because I think all the kids' sports are stopped because of a lockdown. And I've been doing some other stuff. Helped build a nature reserve not far from here.
Superb.
Which just basically following instructions. Dig a massive hole there, put this spike in. And then we were supposed to actually open it, have an opening about 2 weeks ago, but the weather wasn't good enough. So we're looking to do it probably early into next year now. But all the work's been done, so that's been good. It's been enjoyable. Just enjoying the ridiculously high amount of sport that's on TV at the moment.
Well, we just got back up to about 4 pub quizzes a week, which was far earlier than we thought it was going to be. But we had a few of them so of course it was gutting for those venues. They just sort of got getting people back regularly going, and obviously the winter months is great for quizzing, that kind of thing. And obviously, that just pretty much gets stopped immediately for the next month. Then you're into Christmas. So it's
I did one a few weeks ago. It was nice just to get back normality. I had a really good friend turn 50 about 5 weeks ago, but he couldn't have a party. There was originally planned to be a party, and it was just before the Rule of 6 came in. So instead, we've actually done a number of smaller gatherings. So on his birthday, there was still 3 couples went out and had dinner and stuff, and had a really nice night. And then a few days later, with some other mates, we went to this pub quiz, and then we were all out again yesterday, just 5 of us, just watching the rugby. And so that's it now. We've done his 50th, and we can move on to something else. But that's nice to start doing those normal things again. Yeah. And now we need to take a bit of a break, which is a shame, but it is.
Yeah, I met up with Paulie and Glenn the other week.
Okay, how are they both?
Oh, they're fantastic. They're the usual brilliant. So we've got a syndicate that's bought a racehorse.
Yes.
Oh yes, you did. Yes.
That. So we went out. It's kind of stabled about 45 minutes away from our house. So they came up and we went and had a visit and stuff. Had a few pints in the afternoon, which was absolutely brilliant.
I'm just going to quickly put Greg. Obviously didn't listen or didn't grab it earlier on, but yeah, I can confirm, Greg, no one can catch you guys. The wild cards are done and dusted for winning poker squads for this week, and the only person that could have caught Matty was Jamie White, and unfortunately Jamie busted in 8. He needed to win it tonight, so Matty Ogilvie is confirmed as MVP as well. So well done to you guys. Quickly give you all a shout out. So Greg, Gunter, Matty and Gary Young, well done to the 4 of you. The wild cards are game week 30 winners, as we've got an all in a call, Ace King versus Ace King in the roller, so that's going to get chopped up.
Yeah, Tristan's actually involved in the horse venture. Should be out racing in about March or April, by the sounds of it.
The horse or Tristan?
Well, Tristan, definitely. We're going to put a brother on him and ride like brother with the jockey. He's going to ride Tristan around. No hurdles, Tristan. It's all right. Don't worry.
That sounds fruity.
That's not actually the name of our syndicate, but
if anyone's on Twitter, if you're able to go to my Twitter, I've just retweeted that NFL incident. It's ridiculous.
Oh, the punching one. Okay, well, I'll have a look at it. Yeah.
He has a cheeky little tap of him and then a proper smack.
What's your Twitter handle for anyone that doesn't know?
Oh, it's very creative. JP round.
Excellent.
The real JP round.
And I have enjoyed Only Connect being back, Lee. So that is nice little bonus on Monday night.
Isn't it weird? I don't quite understand why they need the plexiglass in between each of the teammates. I'm not quite sure on that. And I must admit, I do feel that Victoria Cara Mitchell, as lockdown has taken its slight toll on her, because she's got very weird with some of her intros.
Oh no, they've been weird for ages.
Yeah, well, they've gone really, really. Did you see Gogglebox? Not the Friday before, because she was on that. It was Celebrity Gogglebox. The two of them were on there. Were on doing for the Stand Up for Cancer one. So very, very well worth watching. To be honest, you genuinely watch their clips and you kind of go, I just want to sit and watch telly with them, because actually they say a lot of the stuff that I say, and I just. It's as we've got an all-in call. A7 for Brendan. It's Jax for Ben. Well, there's an ace and a 7. So we're going to lose Ben in bronze medal position. And which means we're now heads up, and Brendan's got nearly 6-1 chip lead here now. So Tristan said, when are you putting your team in, guys? I'm not sure who that's a question to.
Oh, here we go.
All in a call. There it is. Brendan's got ace 5 and it's king 8. Well, the king's hit. It's going to need to be a 3 or an ace.
Good shot.
And it isn't. And so that's going to be a double up for our Greek player, Charalampus. It's how quickly it can turn. He's shoved all in again. Blinds are now at 30,000, 60,000. So Brendan raised that one up, and he's just shoved all in. Oh, for Only Connect. Yeah, cool. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense now, actually. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, they are actually taking things for next for the next season. I saw it advertised. I must admit, I did think about it. I just don't know whether kind of at this moment in time it's the most sensible thing to be even thinking about doing. I don't really quite know at the moment. Yeah, it's
I'm kind of getting to Wales at the moment, where they still make.
Well, what's frustrating is I was going to go and see my parents once they came out of lockdown, sort of second week in November. I was going to pop up and just see them before, because my mum had already said, "Oh, we're probably not going to see you, for Christmas or whatever with everything." And I've not seen them since. I haven't seen them since just before Christmas last year. So I kind of said, well, okay, once you come out of lockdown, I'll pop up. So I'll give you to do. And of course, now all that's happened is they're going to come out of lockdown, and we're still going to be in England for 3 weeks, so I can't go anywhere. So it's kind of completely screwed up any of those plans. Well, this is a turn. So Adam Neal's saying if any team's looking for somebody during lockdown, again he might tag along and play a bit of squads. Now, there might be there could be a bit of transfer speculation going on here. But if anyone wants to sign up with get Adam in your squads team for a few weeks, that'll be well worth it. I think we will see a few teams come back and play a little bit more squads actually in the next couple of weeks.
Yeah, I definitely think that we people who have been out working and stuff will just start playing again, because.
Yeah, I think genuinely what happened is it was a case of there was concerns. I mean, we've had a lot of discussion on the Orbit about whether there's kind of is it just that players have not run out of money, but there's been kind of so much poker and you can kind of get a little bit pokered out with it all, or whether it is just a case that actually lockdown eased and people went back to work and other the commitments and the kind of the summer break finished, so to speak, and we get into the autumn months and people get back into a routine. So be interesting to see what happens. Everybody wants to be on Only Connect now. Chris Bean's saying, I want to put an application form in for Only Connect if anyone wants to tag along.
Am I the only person who doesn't know what Only Connect is?
Do you not have you genuinely, Stu, not got a clue?
I really don't.
Have you ever watched it at all? No, never watched it. Okay, so probably the toughest quiz show on UK television. 2 teams of 3, and there's 4 rounds in total. And the first round is you've got to work out what the connection is between 4 things, and they get shown to you one at a time, and you basically your points go down if you have to go to the next one. So that's that one. So that's the first round. The second round, similar thing, except it's a sequence, and you've got to work out what will be 4th in the sequence. So you say you ask to see the next thing, and so on. Then the third round is what they call the wall, and it's 16 words in a 4x4 grid, and they're basically grouped into 4 groups of 4, and you've got to work out what the groups are. So you get little red herrings and things that could be in 2 groups and all this kind of thing. And then you've got to, once you've got them in the right order, you then have to explain what the groups are.
Bloody hell.
As well. So you have a wall each, and then the final round is the missing vowels round, where they will do, I think they're in groups of either 3 or 4, and they will be phrases or things in groups, and they take all the vowels out, and you have to buzz in and say what it is. So the subject could be Middlesbrough football players, and they'll take the vowels out of the player, and then you work out who it is and buzz in, and that's it. So
that all sounds very confusing and above my level. I like I like the drop.
Drop them.
I must admit, so Adam's asked, what's your favorite quiz show? Well, I say Only Connect is an absolute must for me, and I do love just a bog standard kind of university challenge type thing as well. But I must admit, I do get hooked on Tipping Point, and I don't quite know why.
Oh no, not Tipping Point.
That's a good joke. Tipping Point. Drop zone 3, please. Wrong.
Yeah, but I don't know what it is about Tipping Point, because the
Takes you back to the seaside.
Yeah, the questions aren't really difficult, whatever. But if they're getting close to getting that jackpot counter out, and you're making the decision whether they're going to take the extra tokens to do it or not, I can't switch it off. I've got to find out whether they do it or not. So,
sorry if you already said this, but didn't Phil TC try and get on Tipping Point?
Yes.
Did he?
Yeah. Was he not successful then?
I don't think so. No.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm sure he's at least been to the audition stage.
Yeah. Well, he's done it a few times. I'm sure he was on a quiz show once. I can't remember which one it was.
Adam Neal said he had a phone interview for Tipping Point, got 7 out of 7 questions wrong on the phone. John Murray has posted a missing vowels question up in the chat box, but I don't know what the subject is. So it's
where is that? I can't get to this. Where is this chat box?
So it's on the Facebook where we're streaming on Facebook. So I'm trying to work it. So he's written SMNLWLR. Now I don't know whether that's a Middlesbrough footballer, because that was the subject I use as an example. John Late was on. I
believe it might be Simon Lawler.
Oh, it's Simon Lawler. Yeah, very good. Yes.
Nice.
So I've just run through with Stu how Only Connect works, basically. JP, that was what you missed. So and amazing, we're still heads up in this roller, but Brendan is very much bossing this. We've got 4 left in the squads. We're all in. Ace 5 versus King 6. Well, that's not a bad flop for you, is it really?
Wow.
And so Charlumpus is going to get his double up again. But we've been here before, haven't we, with this? So
yeah.
So our own obviously Dawn was on the chase, wasn't she? That was a recent episode of that. So Steve Redfern was on Countdown. Actually, he did quite well on Countdown. He got to the point on Countdown where I'm pretty sure he had the opportunity to just go, my usual, please, Rachel, I think, or something along those lines. I think he was on the show for long enough. Yeah.
I think you're only allowed to win 8. I think if you obviously if you lose, you're out. But I think once you win 8, then you're out, and you potentially go on to a Champion of Champions thing. But yeah, I'm pretty sure he won 8.
Yeah, Simon Lawler's right. Yeah, Blonde had a team on Eggheads. I think on Tighty's.
I remember that.
I think it might be Tighty's Twitter bio. I think it does say,
yes.
I beat an egghead.
That's right. And Claire, what was it, Claire?
Yeah, Claire was in
Claire
there.
Spinks, as is now, yeah.
And was Claire's better half Dan part of that team as well? I seem to remember. I wonder.
I'm not sure. Was Kim Boshi in the team?
Probably.
Yes, he was. Yeah,
I think,
Dan was.
yeah.
It was Claire. I know it was Claire and Tighty were the only two left at the end. All in the call again. It's King 8 versus Ace 8. And it's going to be another double up for Charlumpus. So Chris Bean saying, just to clarify, he says he has quizzing prestige. He won an episode of 15 to 1 and finished 7th in the grand final, which is quite impressive.
Yeah, Chris is a remarkably intelligent human being for someone with that haircut.
And obviously Carl's been on Countdown and 15 to 1.
Chris actually once elbow dropped me on a football pitch as well. In a charity football game.
That wasn't a quiz show? No.
No, in a charity football game, he elbow dropped me. Didn't get sent off.
Pete Wigglesworth says he's been on Poker Face with Anton Deck.
I remember that. It was a guy I worked.
How do we not know? And he says he's been on Family Fortunes as well. How do we not know that about Pete Wigglesworth?
The guy I worked with on the first ever episode of Poker Face.
Who was on the one with which poker player was on the Golden Balls thing with Jasper Carrot? Was that Liv? Was that Liv Barry? All in the call again. Ace Jack versus Ace 4.
Ooh.
Oh, he hit the 4.
Oh my word!
Wow, on the river.
Oh,
wow. Brendan is absolutely on fumes here. He's going to have to call Queen 6 versus 10-9.
Go the Queen 6.
And he's now going to need...
There's the 9.
And it's there.
That's it.
That's going to be it. So Charlumpus from Greece picks up $619 and the gold medal. Very well done to him. Brendan, that is an incredible run. That is 3 final tables in a row for Brendan Byrne in the Sunday Roller. He won it 2 weeks ago. Final tabled again last week. Finished second tonight. Gets a silver medal as well for tonight's effort. Very well done to him. And very well played to Ben Kett. New name to me, Ben. So very well done to you. Welcome to APAT. If it's your first game or not played very much, you picked up $293 and a bronze medal. So very well done to you. And we've just gone 3-handed in the squads game. So we can just see that come to a conclusion, I think. And yeah, Pete says that Liv Barry stole in the Golden Balls. Then
didn't she just?
I do vaguely remember it. So the guys in the chat are just saying, "Oh, that was what horrific hand." Payne heads up. Well played, everyone. Thanks, Adam. Very unlucky, Brendan from Carl. Brendan ran Wells. Ian Tomo's in the chat. Hello, Tomo. So squads is already done for those that are just might just be tuning in. The wild cards have won that. Greg and the guys, well done to them. And Matty Ogilvie is MVP for the week. So these guys are very much just playing for the cash, but there's still the $106 up top for the winner of this. Third place is guaranteed $49. So we'll watch. They're pretty even stacks here, actually, 2.2 million each. So we'll just watch this one play out whilst we carry on the quizzing. I can't believe, JP, that Stu had never heard of Only Connect.
Yeah.
And actually, whilst Stu snipped out for a minute, Chris Bean is just telling us exactly the reason why he had the football incident with him. Whenever that was. It's because he ran out for a corner when he was a goalkeeper when we were 10-0 down. He didn't get to the penalty box by the time the ball was cleared. You can just imagine this, can't you?
Yeah, without a shadow of a doubt.
Yeah, when he got back to his box, he collapsed, and it was only apt to give him an elbow drop.
Sounds reasonable.
Absolutely. Dear. So quick shout out to the 3 left in squads. Andy Rhubarb Jones, those of you will know, regular APAT player. Sergei Smirnov has got a German flag, so I'm assuming that's where he's from. And Kevin O'Donnell from Ireland, who has been a regular playing APAT events, certainly during lockdown. And we're 5 to the hour, so we're on a break.
Break time.
Yeah.
Did you say Kev O'Donnell and Andrew Jones? Because my screen's a bit fuzzy. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right.
Okay. Well, they were my best APAT, where I came second in one of the mains. They were the other two with the final three. So reunited, yeah, and Andrew won it. Kev came third.
Andrew's a very good player.
He's got some results, hasn't he? He won a gold at the Worlds last year, didn't he? In that Fusion event.
Yeah, I mean, Andrew's actually been very unlucky because he's a Welsh player and has been consistent.
Well, that's enough.
But it's actually just it's back to the timing thing, isn't it? He's kind of knocked on the door of trying to get onto the Welsh team for a while with really good results, but of course it's just really difficult to get into that Welsh team, isn't it? Because they've got such a consistent group of players.
Yeah, and consistent. You know, they do well in the tournament. So how do you break up that winning team?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you break it by having lockdown for 18 months or whatever, and so we don't do any live events. Paul did message me that it's kind of like he's going to be the longest running England captain in APAT history.
That's true. That's true.
By the time he actually gets round to actually being able to, I mean, he's selected his team. It's just he can't actually play them anywhere at the moment.
Yeah, this is like how Northern Ireland are still the reigning home internationals champions, aren't they?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Scotland are the reigning Five Nations champions.
So the guys are just chatting now, saying, so Monday nights, life is good. Leeds versus Leicester City in the Premier League and the PL08 Championship event. It's not a bad way to spend a Monday night, that's for sure.
Yeah. I'm sure.
It's good little tournament. The PL08 on a Monday night's a nice little tournament, actually. When we ramp it up to $33 with medals on it as well, it's probably one of the better PL08 games on Party Poker, actually.
Yeah, well, now I can't go out as of Thursday for my entertainment. I'll be looking to jump in some of those, especially the PLO variants.
Well, I would, because Mr. Pilgrim's just said, "Night, guys, thanks for the show. Looking forward to the PLO8 tomorrow." So there's value already.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, you say value, there's a luck box.
Yeah. So Adam just says, deep one tabling here, guys. Going to grab a beer and focus on getting this shipped. Yeah, good luck in that tournament, whatever you're playing, Adam, and we'll be in touch and we'll get you on the show. It'd be great to have you on. Well, I know you say you're often streaming as well yourself, but we'll find a way of making that all work. But good luck in whichever tournament you're still running deep in.
I'm back for the end of it.
Stu, can you tell Justin Herbert to hurry up and get these last 13 yards, please?
God, tell me about it.
He's going to get there. He's going to get there.
How long
is this the bet that that Stu balked just before we came on the show when he said, "Oh, he's already done"?
No, he's already that bet's already come in, the Kieran Allen bet.
Oh, that one's already
come
in.
I noticed that came in very early, didn't it?
Yeah. That was a great bet, by the way. Blowing my own trumpet, but that was a fantastic bet. He's still got 7 minutes left. That should come in.
Yeah, it should, because they'll need to get some more yardage for sure. Well, they've just gone to they're 4 ahead.
Yeah. Looks like
I haven't even looked at the touchdown bet we spoke about earlier on.
Who was it?
So Kamara, Kittle, and Lockett.
Kamara has 0 touchdowns.
That's going well then so far. Do we even need to worry about the other two then? Yeah.
Lockett has 0 touchdowns. And Kittle has
0 touchdowns. 0 touchdowns.
Hang on, let's have a look. George Kittle has 0 touchdowns.
It's going really well then, yeah? So, yeah.
How long I'm on that games? As well, Lee. That was a sky boost, wasn't it?
Those boosts, I'll tell you, those boosts are cursed. I'm telling you.
Yeah. 2 out of 3 in the early one, wasn't it? Did you say that?
Yeah. I said to Stu, the one that missed in the earlier one, he scored decent yardage, but just decent amount of run, but just wasn't. When I talk American football, I don't use any of the right terminology, so it's absolutely just like yeah. Well, he did lots of runny things, and got further down the pitch
So JP,
Very.
we had 4 bets on the NFL, didn't we? Yeah.
Yeah.
Two of them were picked by my brother, and 2 of them were picked by me.
Okay, go on.
Should we guess which ones were which?
I don't know. You could be going either way here. Go on.
Mine was the Allen and Herbert bets.
Okay.
My brother's not running good at the minute with the bets.
What was the deal with Edwards-Helaire? Because I was really surprised the line was that low.
He just didn't get many runs. He got carries late on, but not enough. He only had 6 rush attempts in the whole game, which makes no sense.
Yeah, and they had the game locked up.
Went.
They'd wrapped the game up early as well, hadn't they? So they probably took him up early, I'm guessing.
I know, because he got most of his rushes late. It's weird. It's like they should have been rushing the ball a lot earlier.
Well, I don't know. Mahomes is a bit special, though, isn't he?
Well, it's just you're paying a guy however many $100 million he's getting paid. $500 million, you're going to make him throw the ball, I suppose.
He's insanely good.
Is that what his contract? Is that what his contract is?
Yeah.
Really, it's something.
$500 million or something over 10 years. It's crazy money. Absolutely insane money.
It's still the American sports are still out there when it comes to salaries, aren't they? I think more than anything else, any other sport in the world. I mean, I know people say that what the footballers earn in the Premier League and La Liga and stuff are crazy money, but actually American sports is still a different level. Yeah,
you get defensive players earning $30-40 million a year.
But it's not just American football, is it? I mean, the baseball players earn some of the real big names there earn crazy money, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, they outweigh. I mean, like a Lewis Hamilton, surely. And what about the kind of big name? Who's the biggest earner boxing wise at the moment?
Probably Anthony Joshua.
Yeah, and they would completely out earn them, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
It's quite mad, isn't it? Really.
So,
how does an American footballer compare to, say, I presume LeBron James is probably the highest earning NBA player at the moment?
I'd imagine so.
Probably. Are they comparable, or is American football still further?
Google up.
I would imagine they'll be similar. I think the highest earners in NFL will be similar to the highest earners in NBA.
Yeah.
I mean, say similar. There might be a 20 million difference, but then when you're that much money, that 20 million difference isn't much. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, completely. It's all marginal, isn't it? Really.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the grand scheme of things, it's a different world.
But it has it's escalated, because if Stu's right about 500 million, I remember Drew Bledsoe's contract when he joined Patriots. I mean, what would that have been? The early to mid noughties? That was the biggest at the time. That was a 7-year deal at 42 million. So, it's gone from 42 million to 500 in 25 years.
It's actually interesting when they talk American sports deals, they often talk a total figure within over however many years, don't they? And that's how they refer to it. Whereas we seem to, with our footballers, it's all about how much they're earning per week, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true. Yeah,
it's really weird. I don't know why there's kind of that difference in the way that we choose to look at it. They're looking at kind of the overall deal of, well, this is what my overall contract worth is. I guess. I mean, Des might have a kind of input in this. It's more that's more of a commercial way of looking at it, isn't it? It's a deal worth this over a period of time, rather than this is what my weekly take home is.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And, some of these organizations have really creative ways in terms of how they account for the monies that they pay out in contracts and stuff like that. But it is insane some of the numbers involved.
There's a class thing going on, isn't there, with the footballers' wages being weekly? There's something in that. I was just on a podcast how it's very much a working class thing, so let's refer to a weekly wage. Also, that contract in NFL, they're going to get that for the duration, whereas the duration of a contract in football over here, it's not as relevant, is it? Because how often does anyone see out that contract? You're either going to resell them while there's time left, or you're going to tie them down to another contract to keep them longer if it's going well. So very rarely will you actually get all of that contract.
Yeah.
Do you think there'll ever come a time with football in the, just as we're seeing it all in the call, Andrew's got pocket sixes and it's King 9 for Sergei, and he's at King. So he's going to get a double up. there. Do you think they'll ever get a point where actually transfers in kind of English football or football in general will just disappear, and it'll be a case of players will earn a contract and then, other than being traded, so to speak, without a transfer? Because you don't really have transfers, do they, in American sports?
Yeah,
No, you
in
don't.
American football, you trade for like draft picks.
Yeah, or players.
So do you think that'll ever be a thing that would ever happen, where the transfer window whole thing, and because it feels like players' wages now are actually potentially more than actually the actual transfer fees that they're talking about.
I think,
yeah.
But I think like because we don't have a draft system in football, then it's hard to trade other kind of like commodities for it, isn't it? I mean, say in America, they'll trade for like draft picks in the next, like an upcoming draft to be able to strengthen the squad in different ways. Whereas in football, you don't have that.
There's a lot of creativity there, isn't there? I mean, shirt sales, for example. So a player might bring in, or a team may bring in a new player on big money, but effectively that might drive a ton of secondary income into the club, covering off a lot of that investment. So it's really quite creative at the moment, I think.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think it's a case of it's just interesting because it's I think it's a better way of doing it. I must admit, I got hooked on watching the draft about about 7 or 8 years ago. I'd never seen it, and Mark Robottom kind of was telling me about it, and I then started watching. And go, this is amazing! Like,
yeah, it's great. Isn't it?
I suppose if you don't have the college football network, then in football in the UK, it just wouldn't work, would it?
No.
Because they've all got their own academies, and they're all just grabbing players from a very young age and seeing what they can do. I mean, Liverpool have become very, very good at bringing, doing the kind of what the Chelsea have done very well, making a profit out of their academy in recent times. It's become kind of part and parcel of running a football club now, isn't it?
Absolutely. Definitely.
Yeah, so Tristan said, so was the Bosman rule the first step to draft picks in football? I think it was an effort to try and do something like that, but it felt as if they pushed back against it.
Until you like say the college like set up in America is like different from anything else in it. We don't have that over here. You don't have like a league set up for college and universities where the best players will go and play like on scholarships and then get picked up by clubs because they're getting signed when they're 8 years old.
Yeah, I saw an article the other day. I mean, a good example is it's a Sheffield United midfielder. Is it Lundgren?
Lundstrom, yeah, the one who's just refused to sign a new contract.
He's refused to sign a new contract. So they basically said, right, we've got no option but to sell him in January because his contract's going to run out at the end of the year. Yeah. So basically, and he's chosen to do that. He's either his agent or himself thinks he can get a better deal elsewhere or whatever. It's interesting. You're going to see more and more of these situations where a business decision is they've got to sell a player when they did. It's interesting watching the Tottenham documentary that was on Amazon when they sold Ericsson last January transfer window, and actually then watching the kind of behind the scenes as that was happening. They just got to a point where they go, right, well, we can get 15 million or whatever for him now. He's going to go at the end of the year. He's clearly they didn't know why he wouldn't sign the contract, or that's what they were suggesting or alluding to, that they didn't have a reason why he wasn't wanting to do it, but he decided to move elsewhere. And of course, he's gone to Inter Milan, and the rumors are now they're trying to sell him because he can't get in the team there. So
that's interesting. I think he just genuinely wanted to play somewhere else, and why not? It's not a long career, and you give you a chance to play somewhere else. So I'm surprised that doesn't happen more often, to be honest.
Yeah, Tristan's saying there about the guy who's the last draft pick, like in American football, is known as Mr. Irrelevant.
Really? Is that genuine? That's a real thing.
Yeah, and the guy who was Mr. Irrelevant this year, I'm pretty sure he scored a touchdown for his team as a defensive player. It's like a couple of weeks ago. What's he called?
Oh, see, Tristan's doing Friday night question of sport nights. That sounds like far too much fun. Yeah,
I like that.
Yeah, a guy called Tay Crowder for the New York Giants. Basically, he managed to recover a fumble and take it in for a touchdown this year. He basically was it's draft pick number 250 something. He's 255 this year. And
being known as the 2019 or 2020 Mr. Irrelevant. It's pretty, I mean, it's must be quite damning for your career. But then actually with the whole draft system, is it? I mean, you'll know the exact situation, but I mean, Tom got picked way down the draft pick.
He was like round 5.
Tom Brady.
Yeah.
He was 6th round, 199th pick that year. Just brought as a backup, wasn't he? Backup to Drew Bledsoe. I was mentioning before. Bledsoe gets injured in that year. I think it was the 2000 season, and never looked back.
And the amount of first draft picks that don't work out is crazy.
It really is, isn't it? It's often quarterbacks as well, isn't it? They just don't know whether they'll. I was listening to something recently about how a lot of the colleges play these spread formations where you get a lot more, your vision around the field is a lot easier. And then the NFL's different and defensive give you different looks, and it's harder for quarterbacks to adjust, and some of them just can't deal with it. I'd not really heard that before, but
I guess if you're one of the first picks out of the draft, what sort of money are you talking contract wise? Are you signing it? It's set for life sort of money, isn't it?
Should be, yeah.
So you could easily be on a 5-year deal or whatever. At what age are they coming out of college? 20, 21?
Between 22 and 25, although some can declare early, can't they?
Yeah.
It seems to happen far less with football than basketball. You can get 18, 19-year-olds in the NBA, can't you? They can declare very, very early. I guess you just need that physical strength a little bit more with football.
But I would imagine there must be some players that will do it and they'll go, right, okay, I'm going to do it, 5-year contract, and then don't have any interest in it after that. And
I'm looking at the list now, and a lot of them, like from the last 10 years, are still playing.
We've got all in the call. Andrew's got King Queen. Sergei's got Ace 5. Andrew's going to need. He's got heart options now as well. And
hits the king.
He hits the king, but the diamonds come into play as well. So Kevin's got the chip lead here, 4 million chips. Sergei's got 2 million now, and Andrew is very much the short stack. Blinds are 70,000, 140,000. So
I said that the number one draft picks don't often work out, but I'm looking down the list here, and a lot of them are still starters for their teams now. I mean, Andrew looks retired because he basically broke his neck. But
that will slow you down a little bit, won't it?
Yeah, it was a shock retirement. He retired, was it last year? But then you got
Stu, you might have missed. Chris Bean did come in and actually explain the whole football elbow drop story to us whilst you were away.
Yeah, I heard that.
What are you doing going up when you're 10-0 down from goal? What were you thinking?
The worrying thing is I got man of the match that game. I was goalkeeper and got man of the match.
Was it a pity vote? Was it?
It was awful. The game was awful. I'm
not being funny, but why do they put you in? Why do they put you in goal? Or have you always played
because
goal?
Basically, I used to play in goal at 5-a-side. Granted, the goals are a little bit bigger. In 11-a-side. But it was just probably the only person to do it. I used to like playing goal. Made some great saves that game, but also made one of my defence go off injured when I came out for a ball and need him in the spine. Yeah,
was kind of multi-goal defeats quite a regular thing?
Well, it was the only game we ever played. It never happened again.
Yeah, okay.
I retired.
I used to play in some Sunday league sides, or even Saturday afternoon, where we'd get trashed most weeks, and you do it for a couple of years maybe of the team because everyone wanted to do it. And then you get to the point where you go, why are we putting ourselves through this?
Yeah,
it's just clearly we're not good enough to be playing this level. Why are we doing this?
We played against, basically I was playing for it was like a Middlesbrough supporters forum thing against another forum, and they just had better players. Basically,
yeah, exactly.
It's just why did they win? Well, because they were better than us. It was there's nothing we could do.
And Sunday football's always great, and you always have that thing of kind of maybe could have made it or done whatever. I remember playing. I used to play regularly Sunday night five-a-side football with a group of guys, and they were short one week, the Oppo, so they brought this other guy along and said, "Oh, it's my brother-in-law who's going to fill in and play." And he started playing. He thought, this guy's quite good. He's got pretty good first touch, and pretty much he's banging goals in from everywhere. And and then you find out that he was Brighton's reserve right back or something at the time that just said he come and play. And you just realise actually when you think, oh, maybe if I properly trained, I could probably maybe make it as a football. No, you're not even close to kind of what these guys are capable of actually doing. Yeah, you don't actually realise that it's different level.
I once played five-a-side football with ex-Middlesbrough midfielder Fabio Rockenbach, which was fun. He's got the hardest shot I've ever seen in my life.
Chris Beans just said you got lobbed 7 times.
Well, most likely. I mean, you got to blame your defence, haven't you, though, Chris? You know, I mean, you have some big useless lumps in front of you. What can you do? Like I say, I played football, played Fabio. I mean, Acer with Fabio Rockenbach, he scored a free kick from about 40 yards out against Man City when we beat them 8-1. Yeah, it was one of those things where he got the ball and everyone just kind of parted in front of him. He was like, no, not getting anywhere near in the way of that, thank you. Nice bloke, though, as well.
I'm not quite sure what Tom Banks has posted up to Pete Wigglesworth saying found it. It's a YouTube countdown clip.
He said that his mate, Tom Banks said his mate was on Countdown and got a 7-letter word or whatever it is.
Fair enough.
That was the word he.
We will be getting Tom back on the show at some point. If you didn't hear that when Tom came on the show earlier on in the year, Tom's got lots of contacts, knows lots of people, and has got some great stories. So I don't feel we've finished hearing what Tom has to say. So we've got Andrew all in with 9s, and it's King 10 for Sergei, and 9 on the flop is going to mean Andrew is going to win that one, and we're going to lose Sergei in 3rd place. Very well done to him. So got our heads up here. Andrew versus Kevin. They've both been playing quite aggressively, so I'd imagine we're going to see a little bit of action here. I don't think they'll be hanging around. Sergei Smirnov.
It's a great name.
Yeah.
Just.
That Herbert line got in quite comfortably in the end, Stu.
Yeah, of course he did.
Of course it did.
Oh, so you've done okay tonight then, really? Yeah, that's not.
Well,
too bad.
we probably
Turned it around. Yeah.
we probably just broke it even after the early set of games.
Yeah. We got back in the 9 o'clock games, what we lost in the 6.
Yeah. I think we had a little bit more on the Kane Allen one with his 6 receptions.
Did I see Gareth Bale came on and
yeah, came on and scored, and I had Spurs and both teams to score in that, so that was very welcome.
Oh, very nice.
I did have Son anytime scorer, so I immediately donated some back even before I've.
That's fair. This is what I mean. It's just it's a topsy turvy. It's like you watch Spurs and you kind of go, one week you think, sure, they could maybe this could be their year, and then the following week they have an absolute shocker. And Liverpool, I mean, Des will admit, aren't the most consistent team themselves this year, but they seem to be finding a way of winning games, which is this useful knack, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit cliched, but they are going to miss Van Dijk so much. And how's Fabinho? Because he got hurt last week as well, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of them. It's Van Dijk, Fabinho, Thiago, Oxlade-Chamberlain. The list just goes on and on. They've got about 10 players out at the moment. I think Fabinho's will come back after the international break, so we've maybe been a bit lucky there. But in fairness, I don't think Liverpool have played particularly well since last February. You know, but that's part of the makeup of the team, right? They seem to get the job done. They're very dangerous in the last 10 minutes. They may be a little bit fitter or stronger-willed than some of their opponents?
I'm looking forward to Firmino, Fabinho, and Minamino sort of playing together and knocking the ball about. And
yeah, they were talking about Mane, Firmino, and Minamino being meanie, miny, mo, or something. There's some sort of joke going on. I guess Mo Salah's in there as well. Eeny, meeny, miny, and mo. I tell you what, though, Jota looks on fire. He has been a fantastic signing. 4 goals in his last 5 games at Anfield.
I said to Des, might have been yesterday, that I think I'd said on the show, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 months ago, that Liverpool can't carry on getting lucky in the transfer window and signing players for sensible value that then improve. It just can't carry on happening. And then they go and sign Jota, that just looks like just another one of those players. So I'm starting to think that maybe it's not luck.
Yeah,
maybe
it clearly isn't.
There's a little bit more to this than just them having to randomly select the right player. How can Liverpool sign Jota and we sign Donny van den Beek, and we managed to make him a far worse player in a very short space of time. Something's not right somewhere, I think. Yeah.
Well, United just haven't had a coherent strategy, have they, for years? It's the flopping from one strategy to another, different styles of managers, styles of play. Because
if you look at Liverpool over the last 10 years, I mean, obviously John Henry, who owns Liverpool, also owns Boston, who were the original Moneyball team. So it's all data. It's all science. They're buying players just based on the science and based on the fit within the group, so that a player doesn't become part of the group.
Brad Pitt worked out for them, Des. I mean, that's the reality.
Absolument.
Did Mr. Henry sign like Stuart Downing and Andy Carroll?
No.
Was that a different owner?
That
would have been Gillette and Hicks.
Yeah, and what was his name? The sporting director guy, French, wasn't he?
Comely. Damien Comely, who went off to Spurs after that. But I think in fairness, and you have to get lucky. So I think we've got better at it, because we've certainly bought a lot of players that didn't work out in the last 10 years. But it would seem the addition of Klopp and the promotion of Michael Edwards to sporting director, those 2 guys have just gelled in such a way that we really haven't bought too many bad players at all over the last 5 years.
Am I right in thinking, Des, before Klopp, it was when you let Dalglish go for the second time? Is that right? Or was there somebody
Brendan
in
Rodgers. Brendan Rodgers.
There was the argument that when letting Dalglish go was when it started to kind of go, get yourselves in the rightish direction.
So in 2010 we had the one and only Roy Hodgson, who lasted for about 7 or 8 months. Now that was when FSG came in, and FSG catapulted Roy Hodgson out of there pretty quickly because it just wasn't working. Dalglish then came in for 2 seasons to effectively shore up the team, get everybody on a bit of a stable footing, which he did in fairness.
Buy Andy Carroll for 35 million quid.
Yeah, I mean, possibly, but
he did also buy Suarez, to be fair, didn't he?
It's true. Edwards got promoted, and Dalglish, I think they won the FA Cup. Well, they won the League Cup, and they finished 8th in the league. So Dalglish was stood aside, but I mean, he was made a director of the business, so he's still a. Has it happened? Is that it?
King on the river.
Ace nice for Andrew versus King, Queen for Kevin. 9 on the turn, but obviously Andrew was ahead with the ace anyway, and then a king on the river. That's gives Kevin a serious chip lead now, but
sizable lead.
Des, Jota, obviously he's clean. He's scoring a lot of goals. Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he play when he plays? Is he playing instead of Firmino?
Well, he's not really in the same play. He's a bit of an outside left, really. He's more Mane. So I would expect that Firmino will drop out because he's not performing at the moment. I would expect Mane to play up the middle with Jota to play on the left.
You don't have centre forwards in your squad.
No, and to be honest,
you genuinely do not have a number 9.
I mean, Firmino's not a striker. He's more of a number 10, really. But I could see Klopp playing more a 4-2-3-1 with Mo Salah up front. So then Jota would.
Aces v4s.
That's going to be the
Ace is
double,
good,
surely.
so Andrew's going to get a double up.
But yeah, I could see Jota actually fitting in with the front three in a 4-2-3-1. It's been played a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, and it takes a bit of getting used to again. But that interplay could be very, very hot.
You don't chop and change your formation to be playing 3 at the back and then 4 at the back and then a dime. You seem to be it's fairly consistent.
Well, it's nearly always 4-3-3.
This is the way we're going to play, and you've got your reserve teams now playing that way as well.
Yeah,
and your under 21s playing that way as well.
But they are super agile, Lee. And I think the difference between a 4-2-3-1 and a 4-3-3 is not actually that. It's not that significant. It really isn't. And if it does allow you to get a Jota on along with the top 3, particularly with the likes of Thiago coming in, I think there's benefits to it. But we'll see.
I mean, United today were appalling, but actually Arsenal pressed very well. We couldn't get through the first line of press.
How did Partey play? I haven't seen him.
Really well.
I haven't seen him yet.
Really well. Yeah,
I've heard good things.
Yeah, really well. Arsenal did an absolute job. They knew exactly what they wanted to do, and we basically just couldn't find a way of breaking them down. I mean, Arsenal didn't create very much. I think they had 2 shots on target. It's the same as Chelsea last week. I think Chelsea had 1 shot on target again at Old Trafford, but it's just not. It's kind of just not really going.
They
going
are
right
a conundrum
for us at the moment. Yeah,
they are a conundrum. United.
United at the moment seem to have so we've got a load of good players. I just don't think we quite know how best to play them. And unfortunately, what was funny is actually I thought to myself, he's got to take Pogba off. He's having a shocker, which he was, giving the ball away loads. And of course, about 5 minutes after I thought that, he then gives away the penalty. And you just kind of thought, well, he shouldn't have been on the pitch. Pocket 3s for Andrew, and it's King 9 for Kevin. Oh, that kind of sums up this heads up a little bit, doesn't it? Queen on the river gives a straight for Kevin, and that means that is going to be done. So Kevin O'Donnell picks up $106 for winning the squad tonight. Andrew Jones finishes in 2nd place. Let me give you a quick rundown on where we're at for those that missed it. The wildcards have picked up game week 30. Well done to Greg, Gunter, Matty, and Gary. The Four Nations. Nye, always the bridesmaid, unfortunately. Finishes in 2nd place. Nye, Kevin Hanlon, Nelly, and Adelaide Bull. They finish in 2nd place, the Four Nations as well. MVP for the week is Matty Ogilvie for the wild cards, which means Jay White playing for Bunch of Kents. You are going to pick up the added value because Matty is already in the winning team, so we don't give double prizes. So Jay, congratulations for your efforts. You will be picking up the added value for this week, so well done to everyone.
Fantastic. Thank you for that, Lee. Well, listen, I guess that leaves me to say a big thank you to the lovely Stu, the lovely JP for spending your evening with us, guys. Thank you very much. We appreciated that.
Anytime.
Pleasure.
Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely.
Lovely, guys. I'm sure we'll do it again. It sounds like we've got a long 4 to 5 to 6 weeks ahead of us. Thank you to you guys out there, stuck with us through the evening. And, for playing the events through the week. Lee and I will be back next Sunday night with another APAT show. Of course, there's a ton of poker taking place during the week. But we're sort of hoping that shortly we'll be able to share details of the online WC OAP, which will be pretty spectacular. So do look out for that coming up. Okay, guys, I guess that's a wrap. Night, everyone.
Good night.
Good night. See you later, guys.